organization. 60 years since the Birds moved to Baltimore. And tonight we remember the wonderful memories, the former Orioles that gave them to us, the championships, the records, the moments, and oh yes, the St. Louis Cardinals. Next. Unmasked, and on this special evening here at Camden Yards, a full house will be on hand as one of the rare times the St. Louis Cardinals and the Baltimore Orioles get to play against one another. Orioles come back from the road trip, and a good one it was as they continued the string of ball games where more often than not it ends up being a 1 or 2 run game for the Orioles. That probably means a W. That's what's been happening for them all season long. Again, they did not lose consecutive games. 33 games now they have gone without having back-to-back losses. That puts them in that first place spot, and tonight, as Mike Showalter says, we want to make them proud. Them being the great Orioles who have returned. Today at a luncheon, some of the greatest Orioles ever, with Brooksy and Frank, Kenny Singleton, Eddie on hand, Boog Powell, Mike Bordick, ladies and gentlemen. It was a wonderful luncheon where the guys got a chance to tell stories, fans listening, and they got a chance to be the Orioles again. Mike Bordick, you were there. That's a great luncheon.
Oh, it sure was. What a great way to kick off this celebration for the 60 years of incredible tradition that the Baltimore Orioles established. Of course, the 66 World Series, 70 World Series, 83 World Series, and it was so much fun today to hear the great players, Ken Singleton, Scotty McGregor, Brooks Robinson, Frank Robinson, all talk about it and share some stories. It was a fabulous afternoon.
And a special day, obviously, and a special weekend because the St. Louis Cardinals are in town. For this current team, a rare chance to see the Cardinals. Take a look at what's happened in the past between these two organizations. Not much. There have only been 2 series. You go to 2003 and 2011. The Orioles have only won 1 of those games. They are 1-5. However, Nick Markakis has played against them in 2011. Nick had an outstanding series. He ended up with a 6 for 13 in that series in 2011, a .426 batting average. He had a big on-base and slugging percentage in the series. So Nick will be back in the lineup tonight for the Orioles against this Cardinal team here in 14.
Yeah, well, Nick Markakis, another great series against an interleague opponent, and throughout his career he's had incredible numbers. 339 this season, hitting 370 against interleague teams, so look for him to have another great night. But these two teams aren't thinking about those past series. They're thinking about the importance of this series here today. Baltimore Orioles want to create some space between the American League East. They're 5 games up right now, and the St. Louis Cardinals, they're 1 game behind the Brewers, so they're in a fight themselves.
2 teams looking for a division title go at it. A special Friday night. There'll be some faces in the crowd you'll probably recognize when we come back to Camden Yards. Well, on Masson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by Navy Federal Credit Union. 4 million members, 4 million stories. Navy Federal Credit Union. Gorgeous day, summer day here in Baltimore. Take a look at our train game time temperature. We'll be at 80 degrees, some high clouds, humidity down at 40. Visit trainsearch.com to find your local train comfort specialist dealer. It's hard to stop a train, really hard. Here's the starting lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals, a game out of first in their division. Carpenter, Wong, and Holiday. Adams, Peralta, Tavares, Brzezinski, who just joined them. Jay and Peter Bourgeois playing in the outfield. Colton Wong, keep an eye on him. This is a fine young rookie player who's got a hot bat going.
And let's take a look at Chris Tillman's pitch arsenal this season. The fastball 53% of the time. It has been really good lately. He's been driving it downhill and holding some good velocity in the low 90s. Breaking ball 35%, the big over-the-top curve, and the changeup at 12% of the time. Tell you what, Chris Tillman has been on his game here recently. His earned run average coming down to 3.78. He has 8 wins on the season, 95 strikeouts, 52 walks. He's lowering that walk total as well. More consistent in the zone. Opponents hitting 245, lefties at 254, righties at 233. Now Tillman in his last 10 starts, a 2.45 earned run average. The wins haven't been there because the Orioles offense hasn't really been able to supply him some run support, but he has been pitching so well here recently, really stabilizing this rotation, and everybody following suit behind Tillman.
First time he has faced the St. Louis Cardinals. His run support at home is 2.12. It is the second lowest run support at home in the majors. Mike Matheny, manager of the Cardinals, former catcher, who took the club as soon as he took over to the World Series, and trying to get him there again. And we are underway. Cardinals, Orioles. Taken for a strike. Here is Matt Carpenter. It's a team of Matts at the top of the order with Matt Carpenter. And then you got Wong and Matt Holiday and then Matt Adams. 3 Matts in the top 4. Orioles put the shift on. Outfield plays around the other way towards left. Tillman's delivery will be taken outside. 1-1. Throwback uniforms. 1954 when the Orioles came from St. Louis, of course, where they had been the St. Louis Browns. Now against the Cardinals, 2 organizations who go back to the same city at one point. That one will be taken for a strike. 1-2.
Going to be a pretty interesting matchup here. The Cardinals haven't faced Chris Tillman. He obviously hasn't faced them. They're going to go on the scouting reports. They're going to look at a lot of video. But I think they're going to be surprised at the fastball that Chris Tillman possesses and that downhill angle he can create.
That'll be taken up high for a ball, so the count will be evened up at 2-2. Tillman is facing a Cardinal offense that is ranked 6th in average but 14th in runs. One of the problems, they don't have the long ball. They are dead last in the National League in homers. That'll go into the shift. Played at second by Flaherty. Over to Davis, and Carpenter is retired.
Well, 2-strike shift right there, hitting right into it. Take a look at the Orioles defense behind Tillman tonight. Brought to you by Chevrolet. David Lowe getting the start in left field. Jones and Markakis will join him in the outfield. Hardy and Flaherty up the middle. Machado and Davis on the corners, and Nick Hundley doing the catching tonight.
That'll bring up a real good rookie, Colton Wong, out of Hawaii, born, raised there, still lives there. 247, 9 homers, 31 RBIs. He's been pushing the long ball of late, hitting home runs for this team. He's got good speed, and the pitch will be taken for a strike. Had a career high with 3 runs in his first multi-homer game for the Cardinals in last night's game. Delivery to Wong, and he'll put that one in the air to left field. David Lowe with the start in left. He's got it. And there are 2 down. So Tillman looking for a clean inning here. There's what we were talking about, Mike, as far as home runs are concerned.
Yeah, runs by way of the home runs. Now, St. Louis, they are having some struggles, ranking 29th, because the Orioles are really slugging them out 45.5%. That's first. And then the runs allowed. Okay, great pitching staff from St. Louis. Baltimore Orioles have given up 40.1. That's second. And then the percentage of runs you see right there, 30th for St. Louis, first for Orioles. So You know, all about the long ball for the Orioles, and the Cardinals need some extra thump, and they've been counting on Holiday to provide that. Only 12 home runs this season for him.
58 RBIs for Matt Holliday, who's the DH in this ball game. Pitch will be taking a slider in the outside corner for a strike. Holliday has played in this ballpark before and against the Orioles previously. He's got a 261 average against the Orioles and a couple of home runs, including one that he's hit here at Camden Yards. Pretty much straight away, infield, outfield. Tillman's pitch to him to go to second base. Flaherty is there on the grounder. Into Twa. Tillman likes that one, and it didn't take long to get there. Clean inning, the Orioles lineup going up against Masterson when we come back. Earlier today around the batting cage, Frank asked today what made it special to be an Oriole. He said the people here, my teammates, no one looked at each other as being bigger or better. We were all equal, and I loved it. Take a look at the starting lineup for the Orioles. It'll be Markakis, Machado, and Jones, Cruz, Davis, and Hardy, Flaherty, Lowe, and Hundley. Nick Markakis, the numbers Mike was talking about in interleague play, always strong, still are.
Let's take a look at Justin Masterson's pitch arsenal this season. The fastball 74% of the time. It is really his go-to pitch. Two-seam fastball, occasional four-seam fastball. Breaking ball, it's a slider 21% of the time, and the very rare changeup at 5%. Primarily a two-pitch pitcher. Here's his numbers on the year. 5 wins, 5.63 earned run average, 97 strikeouts, but the 59 walks. A high walk rate this season has really hurt him. Led to that balloon to earned run average. Opponents hitting 281 overall, but incredible numbers against right-handed batters. 222, very low. Good success against the righties.
And the Orioles have seen him, of course, with the Red Sox and with Cleveland. And he came over to the Cardinals in a deal just 2 starts ago now. This is just his second start for the Cardinals, his 20th start of the season. Nick Markakis, he's been up to the plate against him 28 times previously, and Nick's got a 5 for 28 off the Cardinal right-hander. Very high ERA, 5.63 combined to go with that 5-6 record. More hits than innings pitched, and you combine that with the walks Mike was talking about, and you got a lot of people on base.
Yeah, there are some problems now at times. I mean, really goes to his fastball a lot, and at times if he elevates it, you know what Nick Markakis is looking for. You see his power zone. He's looking middle away, up in the zone, something to drive.
That one goes to the hole, and he's got a base hit. So as he has done so often this year, first at bat, Nick Markakis is on.
A good piece of hitting by Nick Markakis, and staying hot. This is a pretty good two-seamer down in the zone, but he stays on it and just shows his great ability to use the whole field. If that pitch was down and away, he probably would have shot it to left field. This one down and in, pulls it through that hole. Nick Markakis having a very good year.
So Markakis leads it off with a single. He's batting over 400 in the month of August now. And here's another hot hitter who's been right behind him, and that is Manny Machado. Machado gets hit, and the Orioles get something going here in the first inning. Hit batter by Masterson. That's the 12th batter that he has hit this season. And the veteran A.J. Pierzynski, his battery mates, taking the slow walk out.
Well, he has really lost command this season. You see the fastball, that loose arm. That's kind of a funky delivery, and he loses his two-seamer. Man, he catching it on the backside there, but it's certainly going to hurt the Cardinals' cause because runners at first and second, no outs. The Orioles, when they score first, they are one of the best teams in baseball, the best, 45-10 record. So they're looking to make a mark here.
Now it'll be Adam Jones who'll get the first chance with the runner in scoring position in the ball game. Jones 6 for 26 lifetime off Masterson. Already a concern. Derek Lilliquist is the pitching coach over there looking, and Adam drops it down. Now that's for a base hit. That's not a sacrifice. He had Carpenter way back at third base, so decided to put it down. Now, I'm not sure you really want Jones bunting in this situation.
No, but I mean, Adam Jones is certainly one of the weapons he has in his toolbox of tricks. You'd love to see him drive a ball in the gap, maybe a 3-run homer here, but he's been struggling a little bit lately, and maybe, a bunt base hit might spark him. He's only 3 for 28 to start August, so any way to get a hit.
2 on and 1 out. If he has to bunt, the Orioles are in trouble. That's a base hit. Here comes Markakis. He'll be held up by Bobby Dickerson. Not playing deep, Jay in left field, and he got it back in, but the Orioles are on Masterson, who's not been able to get an out, and loads them up.
Well, a couple ground balls. Now he can get the ground ball with that two-seamer, but they're finding a hole right now. Jones gets that one out in front. Maybe draws that third baseman Carpenter in a step because he showed the bunt. Gets it by him, filling up that 5-6 hole. Bobby Dickerson there holding up Markakis, keeping this rally going.
Masterson is a pronounced ground ball pitcher. 60% of the balls off opponents' bats are on the ground. He would be second in the American League if he qualified at the time. Of course, now in the National League doesn't have near enough innings. So Cruz gets it with the bases loaded. Nelson's the DH in the ball game. He's gone 6 for 12 with the sacks full. This has been a good situation for him. And the Orioles would love to get on the Cardinals early in this one. Cruz 4 for 16, a home run lifetime off Masterson. Markakis, Machado, and Jones are on. Pitch will be taken, 1-1. Orioles have struggled. They've only had 6 hits in their last 60 at-bats with runners in scoring position. Yet they have found a way to win ball games. These 1- and 2-run games, the Orioles continue to put in the W column. That'll be on the outside corner. Masterson's best pitch of the game, 1-2.
Take a look at Nelson Cruz's power zone. Now he's filling up the whole plate. Of course, the first few months of the season, you could not get a ball by him that was on the plate. He was driving it all over the place. The 29 home runs here recently. He's had some struggles. A couple good pitches here from Masterson to get ahead. The two-seamers down in the zone.
Here's the 1-2 delivery to him, and that's the chase. That's way out of the strike zone. And Cruz retired for the first out of the inning.
A sweeping slider. Take a look at the Nissan pitch track. First 3 pitches, two-seamers at the bottom of the zone. There's a look at the slider. Wow, that ball ends up breaking about 1.5 feet off the plate. Cruz giving chase. He's had some troubles picking up that slider down and away. Masterson attacks that weakness.
Well, you can see why the Orioles have had trouble with the runners in scoring position when you've got Cruz in August at 3 for 22. Jones came in 3 for 28. Now Davis 4 for 21. Davis hitting 190 in the month of August. He has had a couple of home runs. He in his career with 3 grand slams. Now the danger, a ground ball here. Masterson's got a chance to get out of the inning if he can get it. 1-0 delivery, and that'll be fouled off the other way.
Well, he better be careful elevating that fastball. A good two-seamer. We've seen the good sink and ground ball that he can get when it's down in the zone. But if he elevates, that two-seamer flattens out. Right there, Chris Davis, a pretty good pass on the elevated two-seamer. You see the pitch track. It was on the outside corner, but Chris Davis pretty good at expanding the zone.
Chris, 3 for 4 with the bases loaded this season. There's a throttle back a little bit, even though it was over 90 and it had some movement on it, and it goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 3 for 4, sacks loaded, 1 grand slam this season for Davis. Dustin Masterson trying to get out of an inning, and that one just missed.
Why not go back out there? Just got the call for the 2nd strike. Get out there a little bit more. Nice call by the veteran catcher A.J. Pierzynski. Matheny wanting that last call to get out of this jam.
Runners the lead, 2-2, and he gets the strikeout. And that's going to be 2 down.
Well, Masterson just tearing up the pitch track away. I mean, all the 2-seamers running off the plate. See that late life. Good location down in the zone. Davis trying to protect. Can't get a piece there.
Well, Masterson with the bases loaded this season has done a pretty good job. Hitters are 3 for 22 with a 136 batting average. Now looking for the 2-out hit. J.J. Hardy. Hardy with a 5 for 18 lifetime off Masterson. And the Orioles, who got the first 3 on, now need a 2-out hit in order to get somebody home. Hardy has been picking those up for the Orioles of late. That's going to miss inside. No place to put him. 2-0.
Got to come to him now. Get him elevated. Really a key. The game plan for the Orioles hitters. Got to elevate that 2-seamer. You see that good action he gets when it's at the bottom of the zone.
360 so far in the month of August for Hardy. 9 for 25. 2-0 delivery towards third base. They've got a force everywhere over to first. How about that? Masterson works his way out of an inning where the bases were loaded with nobody out. Couple of hits, bases remain loaded, no score. To look forward to Miller time later in our ball game tonight, brought to you by Miller Lite. Great crowd on hand, and they arrived early. The standing room areas out in left center and atop the right field scoreboard were loaded with people a good hour and a half before the ball game, and they're expecting a sellout. Very close to, if not a sellout, both tonight and a large crowd expected for the game tomorrow. The fans coming, make sure you note the start time. Now, tomorrow's ball game is going to be a 4 o'clock start. We'll be on the air 3:30. Owes extra 4 o'clock for the game, as Ubaldo Jimenez will return for the Orioles against John Lackey, the starter for the Cardinals. So the Orioles did not get it done in the first inning. First 3 on, and the next 3 retired with nobody scoring. Here's Matt Adams, their first baseman, a lineup loaded with lefties against Tillman. And the pitch will miss down low for a ball. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 left-handers in this lineup. 254 lefties, 233 right-handers off Tillman. Off-speed breaking balls in there, 1-1.
Oh, beautiful breaking ball. First one of the game for Tillman. Nice for him to get it in there for a strike early on. Show the Cardinals that he has command of that pitch. It could come up big in this game.
1-1 delivery. That ball is going to be popped up back and out of play. The Orioles in the starts for Tillman this year have won 15 and lost 9. Good record for the ball club, with his record at 8-5 on the year.
You see Matt Adams' power zone right there. I mean, this guy is a professional hitter. Great coverage, a sweet swinging lefty.
Down the line, they weren't playing him that way. That's going to go into the corner. Lowe will chase it down into foul territory, and Adams, on his way to second base, leads off the second inning with a double. 4th best average in the National League coming into this game.
Picking up his 26th double now. Falls behind 2 strikes, but look at him wait on this breaking ball. Nothing going forward. Backs it up. Takes what's given to him, and a beautiful piece of hitting down the left field line. And for a big guy, he ran pretty well to get into second base.
Familiar name and face, Johnny Peralta, filling the shortstop need for the Cardinals this year. Orioles seen a lot of him against Tillman. He's 2 for 12 with a home run. Runner at second and nobody out. Tillman's pitch on the outside corner for a strike.
Yeah, they're glad Peralta's on this team, adding the thump. 15 home runs, leading the Cardinals.
Peralta only 190 with runners in scoring position, a really low number. And he's had a lot of at bats, 84 in these situations. Tillman jams him with a great pitch. 0-2.
Oh, it was. I mean, his fastball has been so good. He had some trouble in the first part of the season, leaving the fastball up in the zone. Really couldn't harness the command of it. Lately, he has been driving it downhill. He's had some nice two-seam action. That was that second strike right there. Underneath the bat, 90 miles an hour with some late movement at the bottom of the zone.
Here's the 0-2 coming. Runner off second. Adams not with great speed at second base. Peralta will take it up high. Peralta, of course, played against the Orioles while with the Cleveland Indians from 04 to 2010, and then he went over to the Tigers until last season. He's a lifetime .268 major league hitter. And Peralta in this ballpark has had 5 home runs. .275 average at Camden Yards. Tillman the look and the 1-2 delivery, and Peralta will foul it off.
A changeup, really the only reason Peralta got a piece of that is because it was up in the zone. You know, certainly every pitch much more effective down, but when he can throw that changeup off the fastball and it's well located at the bottom of the zone, you're going to get a lot of swing and misses. Tillman carrying some good velocity. He's hit 94 already in this game.
Flaherty holding the runner at second a bit. 1-2 delivery, and he got him right through it on that one. So Tillman records the strikeout on Peralta, 1 away.
Well, this is what Tillman can do when he's got command of that fastball. He has late life through the zone, and Peralta just getting beat on the 93-mile-an-hour fastball there. Good pitch.
Oscar Taveras coming up. Taveras has been handling a hot bat. He's been up a couple of times with the big club from AAA. Made his debut on May 31st and then recalled again on July 1. And right now, one of the hottest hitters in the lineup. 7-game hit streak for him, and a big cut for Taveras.
Boy, do they like him. I mean, a great athlete, good swing. They're looking for him to add a little offensive thump as well. It's an incredible athlete.
Taveras hitting .300 this month. He's had 6 hits and 20 at bats. Pierzynski waiting on deck. 1 out. 0-1 delivery to him. Taveras again. And he certainly didn't get denied his swings on those 2.
Well, he's getting after it a little bit, but I'll tell you what, if there is any kind of bat drag at all, Tillman's going to beat you, and he exposes it a little bit right there. A little drop on the bat head right at the very beginning, and he gets underneath the high heat.
So Tillman looking for the second out here after the leadoff double. Here's the 0-2 delivery on the way, and he's going to get it. So Tillman gets a strikeout. And Tavares is gone.
Well, how good was that? I mean, my gosh, 3 fastballs. Take a look at the pitch track. All 3 of them in the same location. Find a hole and go to it. Well, 3 straight times Tillman with his heater and gets him.
Tillman, runners in scoring position. Opponents hitting .237 against him. That's below the average in the American League. And so far the Cardinals 0 for 2 in this game. They have struggled in these situations, hitting only .243 as a team, 10th in the National League. Down to first, Pierzynski. Davis has got it. Well, both these pitchers showing he can get on, but can he get them home? The answer in both cases so far has been no. Runner left at second. Lanahan Jr. from Arbutus has won 500 for being selected. 500 more for every Orioles home run hit tonight. Play the scratch off for the Maryland Lottery. Your chance to be a contestant of the game. Could win a trip for 2 to see the 2014 World Series. You can find out how at mdlottery.com/Orioles. Orioles coming in with that 5-game lead over both Toronto and the Yankees, who are tied for second coming into the day's play. And the Orioles 3 games here against the Cardinals, and then the Yankees are going to be in town Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights for a 3-game set. You'll notice in the uniforms the Orioles are wearing tonight, one the hat. That's my favorite bird. I know a lot of people like the cartoon bird or the angry bird. I like that one.
Yeah, I like that bird too.
I really like that. I think it's a very classy look. And the uniforms, of course, do not have names on them. 1954, a lot of the ball clubs had not put the names of the players on the back of the uniforms. So you had to have your scorecard with the numbers on it, or you had to memorize players' numbers.
I think a lot of players wish that they didn't have the names on the back today.
Especially on the road. where people can scream at them using their last name only because it's on their back.
Right.
Ryan Flaherty with a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Flaherty low and Hundley due up. Masterson got it in and a base hit. Well, one of the reasons Flaherty's starting in this game, he is now 5 for 8 with a home run lifetime off Masterson.
A nice approach right there. Two-seamer running away, stays on it. It's always a positive sign when you see Ryan Flaherty go the other way, backing a ball up. Too many times this season he's rolled over. You know, big strong kid wants to drive the ball out of the park, but sometimes you just got to take what's given to you and get a hit on the board, start feeling more comfortable in the box. A nice approach right there.
So a runner on, leadoff man on again against Masterson. The left-handers hit .332 against him, remember. Low, a swing and a miss. It's 110 points lower, the batting average of right-handers as opposed to left-handers. That is one of the largest differentials that you're going to see in the majors. The Orioles have got some left-handed bats in this lineup. In at third base, Carpenter. 0-1 delivery, bunting, good one. Pierzynski. It'll be a sacrifice. Lowe retired. He'd have taken a base hit if he could have got it there. Well, with these two clubs meeting, how about a little look at the Baltimore-St. Louis connection? How many of you knew that Earl Weaver was actually born in St. Louis and signed by the Cardinals as a second baseman in 1948? The St. Louis Browns, of course, moved to Baltimore in 1954 and became the Orioles. And the 1944 World Series featured the Browns, who would be the Orioles, against the St. Louis Cardinals, and both teams played in the same ballpark. So that World Series, one of three to be played in the same, all the games played in the same yard, is Old Sportsman's Park in St. Louis. I did not know Earl had been born in St. Louis.
No, I didn't know that either.
And I was, so today, of course, handy dandy research computer, I was looking up some of the stuff. That ball ripped into left field by Hundley. He's got a base hit. Run's going to turn. Bobby Dickerson waving him home. Relay throw. There'll be none. Hundley delivers, and the Oriole catchers continue to produce a 1-0 lead.
A nice piece of hitting by Nick Hundley, dropping the head on that inside fastball. But an even better send by Bobby Dickerson. You see the location on the inside corner. This ball is smoked. But the left fielder, Jay, gets turned. Weight on the back foot. Dickerson recognizes that. Ball dies in the infield. Flaherty ends up scoring easily. With the Orioles on the board first.
So the sacrifice mattered that was put down, and Hundley took advantage of it, picking up the RBI. And the Orioles have the 1-0 lead. For Nick Hundley, that'll be his 11th RBI. And the pitch away. Hundley will stay. Goes off Brzezinski's glove. Marquez had a base hit, his first time up. The Orioles with a run on 4 hits against Masterson so far. Hundley will be held at first by Adams. Not going to get a big lead. Won't be running here in any event. Right-handers 1-0 delivery. Slider inside. We'll tell you about the fact Earl Weaver was born in St. Louis. He went to high school there. Cardinals drafted him. He played in the Cardinal organization for a while, rose to Double-A, and then traded to the Pirates, and then moved on to the Orioles, where, of course, he would become the Hall of Fame manager, Earl Weaver. His dad mom and dad ran a cleaning operation, clothes cleaning. You know the clothes they cleaned? The Cardinals and the Browns.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
They cleaned the uniforms of the two teams that played there, Earl Weaver's mom and dad, and their cleaning operation. Small world. 2-1 strike count. Delivery, Marquez. He'll take that one up high. And Masterson struggling here in this ball game. He got out of the first inning. That base is loaded, nobody out jam, but he's throwing a lot of pitches early and doesn't look like he has great control.
Well, in his first start with the Cardinals, I mean, he came away with a win, but he gave up 5 runs, 7 hits, and just the 6 innings of work. So, yeah, command has been a problem. Very poor control this season.
And he walks it. That's 60 walks surrendered in 106 innings. Tomorrow afternoon, when the Orioles take on the Cardinals, 4:05, celebrate one of the most legendary fans in Orioles history. The first 20,000 fans, 15 and over, get the Wild Bill Cowboy hat. Rekindle that roar from 34 as the postseason race heats up here at the Yard. Tickets, Orioles.com, or 888-848-BIRD. Here is Manny Machado. Machado hit by a pitch, stranded. Orioles already going through the lineup again. That one deep left field. It is way back. Stand up. Goodbye. Home run. Manny Machado, number 12. Good for 3 RBIs.
Of course, Manny Machado on his first at bat, hit by a pitch. Well, what a great way to answer back. A 3-run shot out into the Orioles bullpen.
Well, some excitement here early in the ball game for the Orioles against Masterson, getting people on, and this time got them home. Tommy Hunter out in the bullpen trying to get a souvenir of his own. Here's Adam Jones.
Take a look at this swing from Manny Machado. It's that two-seamer on the inner third, and he destroys this pitch. Tommy Hunter trying to make a great play. What happened, Tommy? Oh my goodness, misjudged it. He's trying to explain himself.
Good luck. That'll go to right field. Tavares will come on, and he will put it away. And Jones is retired. So for Manny Machado, a big home run for the Orioles. The RBI is now up to 31.
100 miles an hour off the bat of Machado. The home run's starting to come. Of course, last season, over 50 doubles. They're waiting for this youngster. Okay, doubles always translate into home runs as a hitter matures and grows. Well, it isn't taking long for him to start knocking them out of the park.
Here is Cruz with the home run. Another $500 for a Maryland lottery contestant of the game, John Lanahan Jr. Congratulations. The Orioles have the 4-0 lead. Hundley RBI base hit, 3 RBI homer Machado. Nelson Cruz will take the pitch away. Strikeout victim his first time up. 9 home runs have been surrendered by Masterson this season. 4 of those hit by right-handers. And the Orioles, we showed you how much they rely on the homer for runs scored, closing in on 50% in that regard. Do it again here. Cruz will take the strike, and the count will go to 3-1.
Well, Masterson, we've seen him run the two-seamers in on the right-handers, and a couple Orioles hitters ready for it. Nick Hundley, of course, attacking that one. His base hit, and Manny Machado getting on the inside fastball as well.
That's the second walk he surrendered, and right now Masterson is getting himself closer to the shower than the mound. He has given up 18 earned runs in the second inning of ball games this year, the most of any inning for Masterson, with the 4 that he's put up here. Davis, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Chris has got a 4-game hit streak coming into the ball game. He goes the other way towards the seats, and there'll be no play.
Well, the Orioles haven't made it easy on him. Of course, they were making some marks in this inning, but even that first inning, bases were loaded with no outs. Somehow found a way to pitch himself out of it, but my oh my, some trying, mentally draining innings for Masterson here in the early going.
0-1 count, 2 down. They'll shuffle the defense in the infield now. Moving Carpenter and Peralta around. Carpenter, third baseman, heading over into the shift on the other side of second base. 0-1 count on Davis. Popped it up. Shallow left field. Long run for Jay, the left fielder. He doesn't need to get there. It'll be put away by Peralta. But the Orioles have a big 4-run inning, highlighted by the home run of Manny Machado, his 12th of the year, and Tommy Hunter's defensive play in the bullpen. Cardinals baseball on MASN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find their fares online only at southwest.com. By visitannapolis.org. Find it here. And by Luna. For beautiful new carpet, hardwood, and laminate, call 877-241-LUNA. Gary Thorne and Mike Bordick in the big house on hand, up and cheering Machado, delivering that home run for the Orioles. And for Chris Tillman, we told you, run support at home, second lowest in the majors. He's already gotten 4 runs on the board in only 2 innings going by here. He's got to be loving that. 2.12 is his run support at home coming into this game. Cardinals bat, and the pitch taken for a strike. John Jay.
I don't think not only Chris Tillman happy with 4 runs here in the second inning, but the whole Orioles team. My gosh, over the last 8 games they've been averaging just 3 runs a game. So nice to see them bust out early and hopefully keep the pressure on the Cardinals and try to get this offense a little bit more consistent.
The Orioles are averaging only 3.5 runs a game at home coming in. They've already bested that. That'll go to left field. Lowe's got it lined up right at the edge of the warning track, and Jay is retired. Be sure to join us this weekend here at Camden Yards, MASN's social media weekend, styled by Hair Cuttery. Check out MASN Orioles on Twitter for more info. Share a haircut with a child in need. You can find out how at haircuttery.com. One down, nobody on. Tillman looking for another clean inning. Gave up the leadoff double to Adams in the second, but got out of it. Peter Boers, you're up, and he will take the pitch for a strike. Their center fielder's got real good speed. Machado will move in, even with a bag. Boers for his last 7. Had a big month of July. He hit .360 for this ball club, which has relied on its pitching far more than offense, and that historically has been true for this Cardinal team through much of their 123 years of existence. Pitch will be taken outside. 2-1.
Borders great speed. I think they were hoping that he would be a little bit more consistent with the bat, but he can run them down in the outfield and get on the base pass, can cause some havoc as well.
That'll be fouled off. Told you the Cardinals were next to last in runs scored, so their pitching you'd think might be even higher than what it is. It's 7th in the National League in ERA. Their starters have the 4th best ERA, and the Cardinal bullpen 8th best. So the starting pitching of the Cardinals has carried him a long way. He holds off the pitch up high at 84, and the count goes full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Carpenter, leadoff batter, on deck.
Well, they've got some great starting pitching, but they lost a good one. Waka went down on the disabled list. That's why they went out and got Masterson. Of course, had the strength in it, picking up Lackey as well.
Tillman with a 3-ball, 2-strike count. The Orioles interleague play 7-4. Cardinals interleague record is 7-10. Orioles have the Cardinals and the Cubs to play. Towards short, Hardy will get right in front of it. And that's how it's done. Our Antwerpen quote of the day comes from a man we saw in the field earlier in the pregame talking with some of the Oriole players. Frank Robinson, I want to give Duquette and Showalter a lot of credit. Everyone talked about the Oriole way, but they brought that attitude back. Frank Robinson on the current Orioles. Visit the new Route 32 Clarksville facility of Antwerpen all month long. They'll beat any competing offer in your trade-in earlier in today.
Frank Robinson's words mean so much, obviously, to Buck Showalter and Duquette, but this whole organization. And he is so credible. I mean, American League MVP, National League MVP, did so many incredible things in his baseball career. And his time with the Baltimore Orioles as well. But he is right. Buck Showalter and Dan Duquette have turned this organization around top to bottom, really believing and carrying that winning attitude forward. I mean, everybody in the minor leagues has been affected by it. They know that their opportunities at the major leagues are going to come by playing winning baseball and defense, stressing the defense, and so many of those great Orioles teams. We're talking about Brooks Robinson and Belanger, all the Gold Gloves, and I mean, defense and pitching was a big part of it.
Popped up, shortstop. Hardy's going to take it, and he'll put it away. Carpenter is retired, and a 1-2-3 inning. That's 2 clean innings out of 3 for Tillman. Eddie Murray on hand. There'll be post-game ceremonies for the Orioles Hall of Famers. Brought to you by Volkswagen. Brooks Robinson, the Oriole, the human vacuum cleaner, third baseman who led and set the standard for how to play third base. Leads baseball's all-time fielding record, third baseman, 618 double plays, 2697 putouts, assists over 6,000, 6-time Gold Glove Award winner, MVP 70, World Series in the Hall of Fame 1983, and Brooksy out there. One of the great statues of the Orioles' all-time great players, and I think fair to say, despite all the other great players, I don't think there's anybody more loved by Oriole fans than Brooksy. Oh,
there's no doubt about it. I mean, and you know what? I don't think most of his fans could care less about the Gold Gloves.
Yeah.
And you know, his great defense. It's the person he is. I mean, he means so much to the community, and he was always so involved. People just loved him for who he was.
Yep.
Or is, excuse
me. Yeah. 1-0 delivery. Be hard pressed to think of anything nicer you could say about an individual than that, isn't it? With all he accomplished,
I know,
all his star status, and to say, you know what matters most to people? Who he is.
Right.
That's a great compliment. That pitch will be taken for a strike. J.J. Hardy up. The Orioles sent 8 to the plate, second inning, 4 runs on 3 hits, leaving only 1 on. Hardy grounded out his first time up, not this time. Way back in left field, and there's another one. Goodbye, home run. The Orioles second of the ball game as Hardy delivers the long ball, his 5th, and it's a 5-0 lead.
Orioles fans loving that. I mean, J.J. Hardy, best hitting power hitting shortstop over the past few seasons. A little bit of a drought this season, but he gets on that one, hammering it down the Hardy line.
Home run number 5. 2 of them have been hit here at Camden Yards. John Lanahan Jr., our Maryland lottery contestants, loving this game. There's another 500 for him, and Masterson just doesn't have it. And a swing and a foul ball by Flaherty.
They are hunting the inside fastball. Looking on that inner third. Wow. Look at him get the head out on that. Of course, always the great head position. And finally getting one elevated, hammering it deep into the stands.
So the Orioles putting up the numbers here in this ball game. Flaherty delivered a single. He scored in the second inning. Masterson clearly early struggles here. Hasn't found a way around them yet. The Cardinals have not gotten anybody up in the bullpen early in this ball game. I mean, it's very early. We're only in the bottom half of the third inning. I guess Matheny's just going to let him go and see if he can get it corrected for an inning or so, but maybe too late. And that one's inside. Man, he just a monumental struggle. Second hit batter of the game.
Well, Mike Matheny doesn't want to go to his bullpen too early. And so many times starting pitcher gets taken out and the bullpen just gets wrecked for a couple weeks. He's going to try to keep him in there as long as possible. Ryan Flaherty taking one for the team there. The slider is boring in on that back leg.
So Masterson with another runner on, nobody out. Lowe coming up, had a sacrifice setting up the first run in the second inning. And the breaking ball will be in there for a strike. Masterson kind of aiming that one in. 50 pitches thrown already to record 6 outs. Hundley waiting on deck. Flaherty off first base, and that one will be outside. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Well, Buck Showalter said he wanted his ball club to make the stars who are on hand proud of what the Orioles are doing as the Hall of Famers watch. So far, so good.
Oh, yeah. Good pitching, good defense, and the 3-run home run.
Long way to go, but Earl Weaver would be happy. 5 runs on 6 hits in the ball game for the Orioles. This is the dangerous part for Melanson, believe it or not, of his game. 51 through 75. When he gets in that range in pitch counts, the average against him jumps to 357. And this, of course, would be like the second and third time through the order for the Orioles, though, because they're getting so many people on base. Orioles are already going through the order for the second time. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Flaherty at first, in the air and foul by Lowe. Oh, the first action, Nick Greenwood. Now Greenwood joins a bullpen which has 4 lefties in it. That's the most left-handers they've had in a bullpen this year. Greenwood just joined the team today because Jason Mott has gone on the 15-day DL with a lower back sprain. Mott a right-hander, Greenwood a lefty, called up today. All the way to the backstop off Brzezinski's glove. It's a little ragged out there right now, sports fans.
It really does. I mean, that arm is loose, and he isn't commanding that fastball as well as we've seen in the past. I mean, this is a bad miss with the 2-seamer. Brzezinski does all he can to try to corral it. Back to the backstop. Flaherty in the scoring position.
It will be called a wild pitch by Masterson. That's his 10th wild pitch. Wow. And that's fouled off. Boy, you put those numbers together, just those numbers alone tell you something about the struggles that Masterson has had this season trying to find the strike zone. You got 10 wild pitches, and then you move over to hit batters. He's got 12. Holy moly. 2-2 delivery, and that one's inside in the dirt. 3 ball, 2 strike count.
Yeah, really all over the place. And when you're an offensive player, and you get somebody that's erratic, you just zone in on one spot. I mean, he doesn't have command at all. You look up in the zone. Right now, the right-handers are looking in or third up, and they are not missing their opportunities. And just look for one spot, and he's bound to get it there eventually. Just all over the place. So.
That's the 3rd walk he surrendered. The Orioles now have runners on at first and second base, and we'll get our first visit to the mound. And Derek Lilliquist, former pitcher, will make his way out. I mean, Masterson has always struggled against the Orioles. We noted he's got a 6-5 record. with a 5.04 ERA against the Orioles. This is his 12th start and his 16th game, and they've not come easy. He's given up a lot of runs, a lot of hits, and the Orioles certainly adding to his woes in this ball game. So a quick visit. Runners at first and second base. Hundley coming up. Hundley RBI single, his first at bat. Orioles already a 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Team came in 4th in the American League, hitting at .266. So far they've upped that number. Nobody out. Hundley will take it. It is there for a strike.
Well, there are times I think sinker ballers, if base hits start getting or ground balls through the hole, it kind of gets in their head and they think they have to do a little bit extra, maybe change a little bit. And in the first inning, there were some ground balls that got through the infield. The Orioles a nice job of hitting, but they were good pitches that, you know, typically he should use and pitch to contact and get the outs in that regard. And it seems like he's trying to change his approach instead of staying consistent, pounding that two-seamer at the bottom of the zone, and just trying to let your defense play behind you. He's elevated some pitches, and the Orioles hitters have not missed them.
1-1 delivery on the way. Hundley has done a great job in these situations. He's had 6 hits and 19 at bats with runners in scoring position. I mean, that's very good. Obviously limited number of at bats, but that's because he's in and out of the lineup. Caleb Joseph, as the two of them provide some great defensive catching and now some offensive numbers. And he's going to get another one. Base hit into right field. Tavares. Flaherty will be held by Bobby Dickerson, and the Orioles have loaded him again. Look out! Throw came through. Supposed to be to Peralta, the shortstop. It went over his head, and they almost caught Matt Carpenter flat-footed. Carpenter saw it, though, and picks it up. And Mike Matheny can't be happy with what's going on, not just on the mound, but overall in the field.
Yeah, only a couple nice swings tonight going the other way. Here's the throw back into the infield over Peralta's head. My goodness. I think Carpenter keeping his eyes on the baseball.
Well, the Orioles couldn't ask for any more than what's happened so far in this game. They've got a 5-0 lead. They're going to drive the starter out with just 2+ innings pitched, and it's game 1 of the series. You love to be able to get into the opponent's bullpen early. They have done that. Masterson is done.
Pitch arsenal in this ball game. He was trying to use that fastball 83% of the time. Breaking ball was kind of useless. Did not have command of that at all. And a changeup, he tried that as well. But the Orioles, a great game plan, just lasting 2 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs. All 5 of them earned. A couple homers. Of course, Manny the 3-run home run, and J.J. Hardy the solo shot. But 3 walks, only 2 strikeouts, 61 pitches to get through those 2 innings of work. So another rough outing here for Masterson, his 2nd start for the Cardinals, and he gives way to Nick Greenwood. 9 games this season. Just recalled of Memphis, and a 1-1 record, 4.74 earned run average, 10 strikeouts in his 19 innings of work, 22 hits allowed.
So Greenwood returns to the ball club and immediately comes out of the bullpen and will be working against Nick Markakis. The Orioles have loaded the bases again. They did it in the first inning and left all three on. So Markakis goes up against the left-hander with a chance to really blow the doors off this one early. We're only in the third inning. Nick will take the breaking ball, and it is a strike. Markakis has already had a single and a walk in the game, as the Orioles now are getting an at-bat per inning. Third inning, third at bat for Markakis. Nick is hitting .298 against left-handers. Actually better than against righties. Stayed in. They got to play at the plate for one. Pierzynski will go to first and a big double play. 1, 2, 3. That's a big one.
Well, that's what you want if you're Greenwood. He rides that two-seam fastball in on Markakis. Little comebacker. Nice job keeping his poise. Just flips it to Pierzynski. Pierzynski knows what to do with it. The veteran catcher on the first base. Get a big double play.
So runners now at second and third, but there are two down. Lowe and Hundley are the base runners. And another chance for Manny Machado. And the pitch taken for a strike. Machado with a home run that came in the second inning.
Manny Machado's power zone down and in to up and away. But I'll tell you what, he jumped on that first pitch. Fastball just dropping the head to it.
And he's also been hit by a pitch. That's down low and blocked by Pierzynski. For Greenwood, the numbers lefty righty against him. Left-handers .276. And the right-handers at .292. And Masterson over wondering what happened. Just never got started in this ball game. 1-1 delivery. That one is down the line. He went up, almost tomahawked that one. 1 and 2.
Well, Greenwood taking a little bit off. The elevated changeup. Manny looks at it's a beach ball coming in. This gets the bat head out in front a little bit, pulling it foul.
Manny coming in, hitting .333 with runners in scoring position this season. A base hit here, and he can pick up a couple more RBIs. Ground ball snagged. Greenwood. That's a fine play, and Greenwood comes on and gets it done. Orioles, though, leading it off. J.J. Hardy. Orioles' second home run of the game. His fifth of the year. 5-0 Orioles. 60th anniversary with all of the Oriole Hall of Famers here. So many familiar faces and names of the current Orioles wanting to do themselves proud in front of the stars of the past. And Manny Machado, 3-run homer that came in the second inning. Hardy would pick up another. Orioles jumping out in this ball game. Happy 60. 5-run, 7-hits, no errors. The Cardinals, no run, 1 hit, no errors. We were talking about the Cardinals, of course, coming to Baltimore from St. Louis. A young fan, and a mighty nice looking young fan there with the big sign up. Spent a lot of time making that. Nice job.
Yeah, beautiful.
The Browns in St. Louis had lots of problems. 50 years worth of baseball, and not many of them any good. They only won 1 pennant, and that was 1944. They would lose the World Series we talked about to the Cardinals 4-2. And finally, 1954, after 8 straight losing seasons, the Browns moved to Baltimore, becoming the Orioles. Ground ball foul. There's still a great interest by baseball fans who like the historic bent interest in the St. Louis Browns. They still have a fan club, a lot of mementos, a lot of research done on the Browns over the years. But baseball wise, there were a lot of losing seasons. They lost more than 100 games 8 times. That ball is going to be popped up. Hundley's coming over, and not quite. Just on the other side of the railing.
Probably not the route he wanted to take initially to that baseball, but very tough sky right now, the twilight. He loses it initially. Has to take about 4 different angles to try to recover and catch that one.
He had an earpiece in, and so was I. Go left, and then now take it next right, and then take it next left, and that's what he did. That is so hard. 0-2 delivery on the way. Pitch will be taken outside. 1 ball, 2 strike count.
He almost made the play.
Yes, he did.
He ended up in the right spot, just a little bit into the camera well.
Long will ground that one into the shift flirt. He's going to be there again. 4th inning, 1 down. The special 54 jerseys and hats being worn by the Orioles tonight, as well as the jerseys worn by the Orioles Hall of Famers during the special 60th anniversary celebration ceremonies, are all going to be autographed, authenticated, and will be up for auction beginning this evening at Orioles.com/auction. Proceeds benefit the Orioles Charitable Foundation, so don't miss your chance. Great piece of history, and only once for the 60th anniversary. You can bid at Orioles.com/auction. Have you authenticated yours yet?
My jersey?
You gonna have one?
I don't know.
You're part of the ceremonies.
Yeah, well, I guess so then.
Yeah. I'll have to bid on your shirt.
I haven't authenticated it yet.
You haven't even put it on yet. And the pitch will be taken down low. Matt Holliday grounded out his first time up. Oh my gosh. 2-0 count. Tillman hasn't walked anybody. He has struck out 2. A double picked up by Adams is the only hit on the board for the Cardinals.
Well, you just mentioned he hasn't walked anybody, and that's really been a key to the run he has been on recently. I mean, very good command early on in the season. A lot of walks, adding to his pitch count.
Reaching for that one. Beautiful overhead here of Camden Yards. Holliday's had 6 home runs, 13 RBIs since the All-Star break. 6 homers, ranked first in the National League in home runs after the break. And he'll foul that one back. 2 ball, 2 strike count on Holliday. Big fireworks, laser show, and 60th anniversary celebration will be going on here at the ballpark after the game. Laser show is going to be right on the warehouse itself. 2-2 delivery. Hit hard to third and a base hit. So Holiday is on with the Cardinals' second hit. One away here in the fourth inning. Time for all fans to tweet your photo using hashtag #MassenFanPhotos for a chance to have it shown in a future broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. Right there, see? That's the one I'm using. I'm sending it in. Here is Adams, who had the other hit, a double leading off the second inning.
That was a nice piece of hitting, too. Two-strike breaking ball going the other way down the left field line.
Taken for a strike on the inside corner. American League East games affecting the standings. Toronto's jumped out on Detroit 4-0 early in their game. Yankees lead Cleveland 5-1 in the second inning of their ball game. Tampa Bay 4-3 final against Chicago. Boston's going to be on the West Coast. They're playing the Angels. Josh Beckett's gone on the DL. Third time this year. They're saying it's a hip problem. So Beckett out for a while. One ball, one strike count. Runner at first. Adams takes 2-1.
Well, Adams, a real good idea of what he's doing when he stands into the box. And you take a look at this guy, and he's going to be fun to watch over the series. Of course, the Orioles hope he doesn't do a lot of damage, but great balance at the plate. He saw his ability to use the field. Certainly, you make mistakes, he can drive it out of the park.
Way up in the air to left field. Low with the runner halfway. 2 down. 2 down. Runner remains at first base. The American League East rivals facing off here at Camden Yards. Orioles, Yankees. 3 games set Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Show your Birdland pride and paint the park orange. Another pivotal series. Tickets going fast. Get yours at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. So 2 away. Peralta coming up. He was a strikeout victim his first time up. With 2 away, Tillman's pitch way outside. Good job Hundley going out to get it. Orioles looking for a little revenge on the previous 2 series where the Cardinals took 5 out of the 6 games these teams played. 2003 and then in 2011 when the Orioles were swept. Shift on, playing him to pull. Chases the pitch away, 1-1.
And Chris Tillman, great command of his fastball here in the early part of this ball game. I mean, he's throwing it down when he wants. He's elevating when he wants. I mean, that is a great sign. Changeup hasn't really been there for him as far as locating it well, but he hasn't needed to. I mean, real good velocity and location with his fastball, and the breaking balls come up big when he's needed it. There's a good change.
Got him to swing hard at it, but out in front. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count. So Tillman a chance to get out of this inning after Holiday had the 1-out single. Cardinals, who finished last year leading their division, 97 wins. They bested the Pirates by 3. Athene's Ball Club going on, of course, into the postseason deep. Here's the 1-2 delivery and a ground ball into the shift. Play's going to be made at first. Good reach. Flaherty was over there to get it. Peralta's retired. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. The Orioles on top of the Cardinals 5-0. Lesson is brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you, by Blimpie. Stop by your local Blimpie after 4. Enjoy any large deli sub for just $5. Get more after 4 at Blimpie. And by AT&T, mobilizing your world. Celebrating 60 years of baseball here in Baltimore, as the Orioles have the 5-0 lead over the Cardinals. And batting against Greenwood, who came on and gave the Cardinals a chance, with Masterson leaving, surrendering all 5 runs, 7 hits, gave up 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 2 home runs. Now Nick Greenwood, the left-hander, will try and work his way through. He's worked as many as 4 1/3 innings, long outing on the season. Greenwood made his major league debut on June 16, working 3 1/3 innings in that ball game. For Greenwood, this is the first time back in the majors since he appeared against Milwaukee on July 13. That was his last major league outing. 1-0 delivered to Jones, will be taken inside for a ball. Adam with a base hit, and he is flied out. Adam is regaled in the traditional uniform of the 54 Orioles and dressed head to toe properly. 2-0 delivery. He's got the socks exactly the way they were worn then.
Yeah.
Classy uniform. Here's the 3-0 pitch, and that's in there for a strike.
Well, Greenwood did a really nice job shutting down that last inning and a comebacker for a double play, and then finished it up, helping himself out as well.
But he will walk the leadoff batter. So Jones is on here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. When the Orioles win, everyone wins, and all season long, when the Orioles win and score 5 or more runs, you get 50% off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com by entering promo code Orioles5. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, valid at participating Baltimore area Papa John's. Cruz drew a walk his last time up. He's also struck out. Nelson, the off-speed pitch for a strike. Orioles have had the leadoff man on in all 4 innings. A single, a home run, and a walk. Here's the 0-1 to Cruz, late on a fastball.
A pretty good fastball. He's throwing a couple nice changeups. That 2-seam fastball there, running away, 88 miles an hour. Saw him rush a couple in as well, so not afraid to pitch inside. And a couple good pitches on the outside corner to Nelson Cruz.
0-2 look over, almost threw that away. Adams off to get it. Tomorrow's game, 4 o'clock ball game, 3:30 O's extra. 4 o'clock will be on the air for game 2. The return of Ubaldo Jimenez off the DL. John Lackey will go for the Cardinals. The Orioles are going to have to make a responding move as far as the roster is concerned. Jimenez is not on it yet. There he is. He'll pitch tomorrow. Who goes? Tough question.
It really is. It is a very tough decision for Buck Showalter, and everybody pitching so well.
Here's the 0-2 delivery outside. Like Showalter saying before the game today, because he could be back to the 6-man rotation, if you will, starting tomorrow. He said, I do not want pitchers to be on a yo-yo as starters. In and out, 4 days rest, 6 days rest, 5 days rest. He said, that doesn't work. I don't want that. 1-2 delivery. So I said, well, what are you saying? Are you saying you're going to let Jimenez start, and then you're going to pick 5 starters, and somebody's going to go to the bullpen? And he smiled. He said, don't ask me hard questions. I said, okay.
Well, one thing it gives Buck the ability to do, and Buck is great at this, and we've seen this here recently, he's an ability to look at the matchups a little better. So if he does have to tweak his rotation a little bit and maybe line up a pitcher or skip a start. Could potentially happen. And Buck Showalter has done that over his last couple years as the manager. Skip starts with Miguel or Wei Yin Chen. You certainly want your pitchers to be strong going into September. So it might be just this window of opportunity to do that. Possibly match up well, keep them fresh.
I asked him that, and the response he gave me was, right now, our starters are not overused, and looking at the schedule, they're not going to be.
Yeah.
So I said, well, you're telling me you want a 5-man rotation then.
There you go. And he answered it.
He did, without saying it. That's what he wants. Ball looped in the air. That could fall in, and it will. A base hit. Jones playing it halfway, gets to second base. Cruz is on with a single, and the Orioles have the first two on here in the fourth.
Nelson Cruz used one of these. A real good changeup down at the bottom of the zone. Turns it over, but he stays on it. Good job battling with 2 strikes and finally finding some outfield grass. And waiting for Nelson Cruz to really string some hits together, get it going, because he was the force the first few months of the season for the Orioles. So that one a little quiet for them. It'd be nice to get a little bit more consistency here in August.
So the Orioles have put up 8 hits, part of their 5-0 lead, and they get a chance to add to it. Chris Davis has struck out, popped out. Orioles 4 for 9 already with runners in scoring position. Just lots of chances. Orioles have left 6 on base. 5 of those in scoring position. Davis will take the pitch for a strike. For Chris here in his home yard this season, came into this game hitting just 172 here at Camden Yards, but does have home runs, 7 of them here in his home ballpark. Base hit here, at least 1 RBI, down to first base, backhanded. There's 1, relay to first, will not be in time. Adams getting it over to Peralta, but too slow developing to get 2.
Yeah, the little chopper there, and Chris Davis always hustling down that first base line, able to beat it out. The athleticism, though, by Adams at first base. Pretty nice running throw. Just the pace of the baseball allows Davis to beat that one out.
So that'll give Hardy another nice chance. First and third, 1 away. Hardy, 328 with runners in scoring position. Great number. Got his 5th home run leading off the 3rd inning. 1 for 2 in the ball game. And he will take the pitch down low for a ball. The big house on hand here tonight, treated to an early offensive attack by the Orioles. 4 runs, 3 hits, 2nd inning. Another run, 2 hits in the 3rd inning. 2 home runs so far in the ball game. 3-run homer Machado so far down the line. It is deep and goodbye. Home run. Oh, mercy. Hardy's 2nd home run of the ball game. And the Orioles have an 8-0 lead.
J.J. Hardy, his bat was heating up in Toronto. He was covering the baseball, but to right field. Picked up a couple doubles. Driving and bouncing over the wall up there in the Rogers Center. And here, turning and burning.
A 4 RBI game for Hardy and a 2-homer ball game.
And take a look at J.J.'s swing. Now, he got a fastball in the inner third in his first at bat. This is what we've seen J.J. do. When he is right, he can cover the whole plate and get it down that left field line. That's what he did there. Elevated pitch, and he reached out and touched it.
So the Orioles, 8 runs on 9 hits and 3 home runs so far in the ball game. And a swing and a miss. Hardy has had 11 multiple home run ball games in his career. It is his first this year, and it is the 8th multi-homer game for the Orioles. Down to first base, Flaherty, and it's bobbled. Adams bare hands it for the out. And there's some catch-up D for you. And there are 2 down.
Well, this is how you help a teammate out. And pretty good concentration by Greenwood. Adams over boogieing here, just kind of kicks it. Misses the glove off the shin. Greenwood there, nice bare hand play. Adams bare hands it himself. The chopper looks pretty routine. That makes it really difficult to record that second out. Nice athletic play by Greenwood.
You don't see many of those. Hit a 3-1-3. Here is Lowe. He's drawn a walk and has sacrificed. 2 down now. Bases are empty. Boy, a lot of marks on the Orioles side of the score sheet through the first 4 innings of this ball game. Breaking ball is outside, rolls away. Count goes to 2-0. Hardy adding another $500 into John Lanahan Jr.'s wallet. Our Maryland lottery contestant having a big night.
That number there, 45 home runs in the last 34 games for the Orioles. Long ball coming up big.
A 2-ball 1-strike count with 2 down. Ground ball to first, fair ball. That's going to roll into foul territory and down the line with that great speed. Lowe will stop at second base with an easy stand-up double.
He was looking for 3. Ball gets behind him, so he picks up Bobby Dickerson. Take a look at him scorching this one down the right field line. Adams a good effort on the dive attempt. David Lowe thinking third base out of the box, his 5th double. And pulls up at second. Nice decision there. Don't want to make that third out at third.
Talking about the Orioles home runs, you look back and how much they've mattered to this team. The Orioles had 46 home runs in June, number 1 in July. They hit 29. They were 3rd so far in August. You add the 3 here, they are 12th. They are 1st again in home runs hit. And boy, if Hardy starts to hit home runs.
Oh boy.
Whoa.
That would be a big thing. Get that home run production.
10 hits in the ball game for the Orioles. Hundley's got 2 of them. 2 singles. He's picked up an RBI and he has scored a run. Well, the bottom third's been involved. Flaherty single, run scored, hit by a pitch. Low, sacrifice, walk, double. Hundley 2 singles, run scored, and RBI. Those are the Orioles' 7, 8, 9 hitters. 0-1 delivery will go to short. Peralta's got this one. Over to first to retire the side. But the Orioles come away with 3 more. 1 more swing of the bat. Hardy, home runs numbers 5 and 6 in this ball game. Good for 4 runs batted in. The Orioles 1966 World Series. They beat the Dodgers in 4 games. MVP Frank Robinson, 286, 2 homers, 3 RBIs in that. He also scored 4 runs. It was Wally Bunker, Mo Drabowski, Dave McNally, Jim Palmer who got the wins in that series for the Orioles starting pitchers. And the Orioles came away with a World Championship 1966 against the Dodgers.
There's that classic picture of Brooks jumping up there. Frank Robinson came aboard. Unbelievable players, and this is where the legends really began there in that 66 World Series. I think didn't Frank win the American League MVP that year, his first year over? I told you the luncheon today, Boog was talking about when Frank Robinson came aboard. Now coming over from Cincinnati, 10 years with the Reds, and Boog really didn't know what to expect, and his first impression was, wow, this guy's mean. he is mean. Well, thing is when Frank came over, he didn't want the Orioles to talk to other teams. He didn't want that fraternization, with against the other team. He says, hey, we're out here to beat these guys. If you want to hang out with the other team, meet them after the game. We're going to go out here and beat these guys tonight. And that's really kind of what they believed in. So it gave them an edge, and they, of course, went on to win that World Series that year.
Frank had an edge anyway, but added to it was the fact the Reds thought he was done.
Oh, boy.
They thought his career was over.
Far from done.
Wrong. Orioles on top here by a score of 8-0. Oscar Taveras. He will take the strike. Taveras has struck out, not to be lost in all of this. The work being done by Tillman. Orioles Strider's given up a double to Adams and a single to Holiday, and that's it. He has walked none and struck out 2. Taveras, a strikeout victim, and he'll foul that one straight back. Jim's here. We were talking to Jim earlier. It's a chance he gets to actually come to the ballpark and just watch the game. Wave, Jim. Wave. Come on. There you go. There you go. And Jim came by earlier. And it's in there for a strike. And Taveras was walking away before the call was complete.
Oh, a great breaking ball there from Chris Tillman. Now he's established the fastball. He's driving it down, working the top of the zone here. Beautiful breaking ball, the knuckle curve, and dropping down in. I think he did have his knuckle on there. Oh, Mike Mussina breaking ball.
Wow. Here is A.J. Pierzynski. Pierzynski grounded out his first time up. Pierzynski, of course, one of the acquisitions for the Cardinals. Had some work behind the plate. Veteran catcher. He's got a 3-game hit streak with him. He's done a good job since coming over. 4 for 10. Pitch will be taken up high for a ball. Playing with Minnesota, San Francisco, White Sox, Texas, and Boston, and now the Cardinals. 1 ball, 1 strike delivery. AJ couldn't hold up on that one.
Oh, that is a nasty breaking ball from Chris Tillman. Unbelievable finish, down and in to get the veteran Pierzynski. Of course, Pierzynski brought over because the great catcher Molina on the disabled list. The bad thumb.
1-2 delivery up high, and if there's any loss that can hurt any team more than that one, I'm not quite sure what it would be. They rely on Yadier Molina more than any other individual to just control a ball game in every way. Here's the 2-2 delivery, and Pierzynski will take it, and he's gone. Tillman is mowing.
Well, mixing up his pitches now. When he started him off with the changeup, a couple real good breaking balls. Pierzynski thinking about something else. And he spots up a fastball on the outside corner. Take a look at the delivery, the high knee kick, and here it is, the glide down the hill. That good extension, then right to the top. Great downhill action from Chris Tillman. Boy, is he working tonight.
Got that big lead. You can really challenge, make a mistake, so what? Just come back, get the next guy. Jay flied out to left field, his first time up. 0-1 delivery on the way to him. Jay will take it up high for a ball. Again, another one of those games where I'm not quite sure anybody saw this coming so early in the game. The Orioles have an 8-0 lead. Pitch up high again. 2-1 strike count. That's the way it's gone of late. Orioles have exploded for a game or two, then gone back to win one-run ball games. 2-1 delivery and a check swing foul ball into the Cardinal dugout.
Well, they would love the offensive consistency. I think more than that, the pitching, they love that. I mean, you've been able to count on it every night. It has showed up. The starters and the bullpen, and the defense is always there.
And he got him, and he strikes out the side. 5 strikeouts in the ball game as Chris Tillman sets them down in order. We go to the bottom of the 5th.
Highlights tonight after getting hit and his first at bat. Sweet redemption here, a 3-run shot out into the Orioles bullpen, and J.J. Hardy, he's heating up, dropping head on an inside fastball down the Hardy line, and wouldn't you know it, here he comes again, getting on an 89-mile-an-hour fastball right down the left field line. The Orioles offense has been on fire in this game. And take a look at this. Contributions from everybody up and down the Orioles lineup. They're hitting, they're walking, they're scoring. It has been fun to see because the Orioles offense hasn't really been here lately. Remember, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
The Orioles chasing. Justin Masterson, the starter for the Cardinals, after 2+ innings, 5 runs, 7 hits, 2 home runs. Hardy part of that. Greenwood coming on right now, trying to eat up some innings for the Cardinals. Nick Markakis, top of the order, and the pitch outside for a ball. Nick is up for the 4th time. Single walk, hit into a double play. He has scored a run. Orioles after their 66th win of the season. 65-49 on the inside corner. And a 1-1 count on Markakis. This is the 8th time in the divisional era the Orioles have had at least a 5-game lead in August or later. They have won the division crown each of the previous 7 times. They lead by 5 over Toronto and New York, tied for 2nd.
They are in a good position and really in control of their own destiny right now. But a lot of good things working for them. Talk about the pitching, the defense. And here a good sign tonight. The offense exploding.
Markakis will take the lefty's pitch up high. A 2-2 count. Manny Machado and then Jones will be due up. Hardy's got a shot at a couple more at bats perhaps in this ball game. That one he got jammed on. It'll go to second base. Colton Wong will make the play, and Markakis is retired. 5th inning. Our PNC Minor League Report is brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you.
Well, Dan Duquette really working on creating the depth in the organization. He went out and got free agent Ivan DeJesus, the infielder, and he's having a great year in Triple-A this season, hitting .295 with 5 homers, 51 RBI. But last 10 games, boy, has he been on fire. .341, a home run, 10 RBIs, .488 slugging percentage, and with the bases loaded, this is the guy you want, 8 for 11. So bats there, got a good glove. He's had big league experience, so that can potentially help you at the big league level.
0-1 delivery on the way, and that will be fouled back. Manny Machado, 3 RBI homer, 2nd inning, hit by a pitch, and he's grounded out. Manny continuing his hot pace for the Orioles, not just the long ball, but the average as well. And a couple of times inside on him, Przinsky blocked it and makes the play for the strikeout. For every Orioles walk, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 supporting Be More for healthy babies. 288 walks, $14,400. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Greenwood getting his 2nd strikeout, a chance to retire the side in order. Orioles have not been set down in order. On the other side, Chris Tillman has retired the Cardinals 1-2-3, 3 out of the 5 innings.
Well, one of the problems the Orioles have had with the offense kind of going into a stall pattern, 188 batter strikeouts since the All-Star break. Now that's the most in Major League Baseball. They got carved up. They won a couple ball games in Toronto, but boy, did they swing and miss a lot of times. So give yourself a chance, put more balls in play, and good things will happen. Right now, the strikeouts have really been a big part of that offense kind of going on a little stall pattern.
1 ball, 1 strikeout on Adam Jones. Single, walk, flied out, run scored. Adam hitting .289 here at Camden Yards this year. He has had 10 home runs here at Oriole Park on the season. 2 ball, 1 strike count to him with 2 down. And up in the air to left field, maybe at the wall. Goodbye! Home run! Another one! A 4-homer ball game for the Orioles as Adam Jones joins the parade. He's got 22 in the year.
Orioles fans loving this offensive show. 22nd home run this season. Adam Jones started the month of August a little bit slow, but he's starting to pick it up a little bit. Orioles have been playing so well at home here recently. A 9 spot up in just the 5th inning.
Boy, the Orioles are really taking advantage of the home yard.
Take a look at this swing here from Adam Jones. Watch that front hip clear. Man, oh man, that pitch is in off the plate, and somehow able to clear the hips, get the bat head to it, keep it fair, and drive it out of the park.
70 RBIs ties him for 10th in the American League. And what a night for John Lanahan Jr., our Maryland lottery contestant. That's 4 home runs, $500 a homer. Down to third. That's backhanded Carpenter. Long throw, and he got him. But the Orioles yet to be retired in order. It's a run on a hit, no errors, nobody left on base. This time it's Adam Jones with the opportunity, his 11th home run this season here at home. yards with the Orioles leading at 9-0. Brooks Robinson, one of the many on hand to watch the ball game. So is Boog Powell, who remembered this day.
The first time I met Brooks Robinson, and I was 18 years old, and my dad drove me from Key West, Florida to Miami in spring training in 1960. And the first person I met when I walked into the ballpark with my dad was Brooks Robinson. And Brooks walked over and he introduced himself to me. And he introduced himself to my dad. And he told my dad, he said, "Don't worry, Mr. Powell, I'll take good care of him."
And did.
Oh, my gosh. That is a great story. I love those guys. They're just such good people. They really are. It's unbelievable.
And they had such a great chemistry. Base hit up the middle on the first pitch. Peter Bourgeois puts that one into center field. Leadoff single here in the 6th inning. Only the 3rd hit for the Cardinals. 2 singles and a double off Tillman in the game. The Orioles on top 9-0. So back to the top of the order. That'll bring up Matt Carpenter. Carpenter has grounded out and popped out. I'm not sure Chris Tillman can remember the last time he felt quite this much at ease here at Camden Yards on the mound.
No. No starts this year.
When you have the 9-0 lead. Descalso will be the pinch hitter for Carpenter. Don't know if that is an injury problem or simply Matheny deciding to rest Carpenter at third base, thinking this one may well be out of reach.
It might be one of those out of reach deals. I mean, of course, he's well aware of the Orioles bullpen and an opportunity to possibly rest some guys here in this game. The Cardinals have had a hard time scoring runs anyway, especially on the road.
Descalso as a pinch hitter has gone 6 for 28. Overall at 177 batting average. Extra base hits, there have been 5 of them, and they've been doubles. Descalso, the pinch hitter, runner on at first base. Orioles have the shift on against him. And he'll pop it up the other way. That'll end up in the seats.
Well, this whole ball game, you've seen Nick Hundley kind of stick his glove out and nod his head. That's where you want it. I mean, signs of approval throughout. The elevated fastball there, right where Hundley wanted it. You see the pitch track. Now he gets ahead with a couple good pitches at the bottom of the zone. And there he goes, riding to the top, up and out of the zone. Very tough to do any damage there.
0-2 pitch is just going to miss. Well, the Cardinals not used to these kinds of ball games, as Cardinals came in having allowed only 2 runs in each of the last 4 games they played. They had won 5 of the last 7. 1 shy of their high in games over 500, 61 and 52. Not tonight, though. And a strike called. That's strikeout number 6 for Tillman.
On a changeup. Actually, it's come up big here in the last 3 innings. A pretty good one on the inner third. I mean, a great arm sell. You saw the grip right there, the circle change. Down at the bottom of the zone. A real good pitch from Tillman. Command of all of his pitches right now.
Tillman with the 6 strikeouts, 2 shy of the season high of 8 that he had against the Pirates. 3 shy his career high 9. He's done that 4 times. That one's going to be fouled back. Colton Wong, the rookie, 0 for 2, is flied out, grounded out. Sam Freeman in the bullpen for the Cardinals. Wong, an outstanding season. He came up, played some last year, including making appearances in the postseason. 0-1 delivery to him, and that one's going to be foul back.
Now they really like him. First part of the season, he was dealing with some shoulder problems, actually playing through an injury. Kind of kept his numbers down, but he's healthy now. Last night's ball game hit a couple of home runs. Mike Matheny talks about his bat speed, just a real quick bat, and has that great ability to take the bat head directly to the ball.
Down the line the other way. It'll be a foul ball. Wong, as we said, is from Hawaii. He was a first-round pick in 2011. Made his major league debut in 2013. High school, Hawaii, University of Hawaii, played baseball there. Twins drafted him early. In 2008, he didn't sign, choosing to play college ball. Tillman with the 0-2 delivery, and Wong will take the pitch inside. 1 ball, 2 strike count, runner on at first base. Orioles with a 9-0 lead. In all honesty, this jammed house just kind of sitting back and waiting for the post-game festivities.
Right.
Now, I know the game's not over, but it's kind of been so completely dominated by the Orioles, 9-11-0 to 0-3-0, that it's kind of a sit back and watch and relax. Tillman with a 1-2 delivery, and the pitch is going to be taken 2-2.
Yeah, the offensive outburst kind of taking some of the shine off Tillman's job here. Only 3 hits, and boy, this is just another strong performance by Chris Tillman. The Orioles offense, I think that's really been the talk of the town. The pitching has been so good over the last couple months. Hey, and the offense, where did it go? But here tonight, here it's back. So I think fans maybe have come to expect good pitching, and that's what they've been getting.
Orioles have tripled their output in runs here at home tonight. Their average on the year. Jones, of course, the homer. You saw Machado. Hardy's got 2 4-home run ball game. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 down. Runner with a lead at first, and just missed outside.
Almost got that backdoor breaking ball right there. Pretty close pitch to take. Just working off the outside corner, mixing up his pitches. Wong doing a nice job to battle through this at bat.
Orioles have had a 4-homer ball game this season against Washington. 4 homers, that extra inning ball game. Swing and a miss, and Tillman's got another one. 7 strikeouts, 2 in the inning.
Boy, that is nasty command right there. 91 miles an hour. Okay, tries to backdoor the breaking ball, then dots one up on the inside corner. Wow, what a pitch. That fastball command has been outstanding, as good as we have seen this season.
Tillman putting on a show here, going after his 9th win of the year, and in his first outing against the Cardinals. Matt Holliday is singled, and he is grounded out. Bourgeois over at first base, pitches outside for a ball. The Cardinals, coming into this game, have scored the fewest runs in the majors since the All-Star break. They were tied with the Mets coming in for fewest runs. They've been able to win, though, as 7 of the last 17 games they've played have been decided by just 1 run. Ground ball down to first, short. Hobb Davis puts the body in front of it and will record the out. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. 1 left on, 6 complete. Orioles lead. Our Mazda do-ups: Davis, Hardy, and Flaherty.
We promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Well, J.J. Hardy, 3 consecutive years of 20 home runs or more, 4 homers coming into this ball game. This is his second of the night. Yeah, right down the Hardy line. He covers that outside corner. That fastball was 89 miles an hour up and away. Now, J.J. Hardy, when he is right, he has full plate coverage, and he's looking to turn on balls. Well, he's done it twice in this ball game. So looking good right now.
So defensive changes in the ball game, as indeed he's going to rest some of these starters. Cruz has come on to play. Tony Cruz will be at third base. Descalso pinch hit. He'll stay in the ball game. Play at short, and over at first base is Mark Ellis.
And Sam Freeman now in the ball game. Uses that fastball 65%, breaking ball 9% of the time, and the changeup at 26% of the time. He's got a pretty good fastball, low to mid 90s. That slider, it's a little splitty, but a little slider, but the change is a split finger. A pretty good one. And he works it to the bottom of the zone. You see the games this year, 27, 1.90 earned run average. So done a nice job in this Cardinals bullpen.
And a swing and a miss. First batter he faces will be Chris Davis. Chris 0 for 3, did reach on a fielder's choice, scored in the 4th inning. So Greenwood out of there, the reliever for the Cardinals. 4 runs, 4 hits over 3. He had a walk and 2 strikeouts. He gave up 2 home runs. Masterson, the starter, gave up 2 home runs. And the Orioles offense tearing it up here on the 60th anniversary night against the Cardinals. 1-1 delivery on the way, and he did go around. Home plate umpire Jeff Nelson making the call on that one.
Just trying to get it done a little too soon for Davis, not picking up the baseball and trusting the hands, chasing up and out of the zone there.
Freeman, 1 ball, 2 strike count with the shift on against him in the infield, and missed. 95-mile-an-hour fastball. That'll even it up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Freeman worked against Boston on the 6th. Worked only a third of an inning. Gave up a couple of hits. No runs, though. And just missed again as he tried to lay that in outside. Three ball, 2 strike count. And Chris Davis will foul it away. Jeter's added another moment to his final year. He's tied Honus Wagner 6th on the all-time hit list tonight. An infield single, 3,430. And the Yankees, of course, in the race. Still leading Cleveland 5-1, 5th inning, 5 games behind the Orioles. Here's the 3-2 delivery, and that one to center field. He got a lot of it. Mercer back at the wall. Goodbye! Home run! And the Orioles, for the first time this season, have hit 5 home runs in a ball game. Chris Davis gets it, and it is 10-0.
This has been an impressive output here by the Baltimore Orioles. I think appreciating a full house, showing them what they're capable of doing. Everybody contributing. And Chris Davis is showing his power straight away center field there.
And the Orioles 10 runs on 12 hits, and Hardy's going for his 3rd.
And take a look at the fastball, down and away. I mean, unbelievable coverage. Right into that swing. A great finish, great extension.
1-0 delivery to Hardy's inside. Hardy has had 2 home runs, numbers 5 and 6. Our Maryland Lottery contestant of the game, John Lanahan Jr.'s name is more familiar than the governor. 5 home runs in the ballgame. 2-0 count on Hardy. And he will take the pitch. It will miss, and the count goes to 3-0. So the Orioles machine is just running on all cylinders here in this ball game, taking advantage of every hit, Strike on the outside corner. Fans really getting to see a show as the Orioles return home from Toronto in the ball game. They won 2-1. And the pitch outside lost him. After the home run, the walk. Nobody out here in the 6th inning. AT&T fan photo, as we promised earlier in the game, brought to you by AT&T.
Out in Oakland. Orioles fans everywhere.
Yes, they've been following the ball club around. Here's Flaherty. He's had a base hit, been hit by a pitch, and then a 3-1-3 put out at first base. And what was a bobble ball recovered by the pitcher.
Well, J.J. Hardy, a couple home runs in this game. Chris Davis, 3 home runs in his last 4 games.
That one deep to left field. That's back near the seats. Oh, mercy. Goodbye home run. Unbelievable. Ryan Flaherty delivers the homer, good for 2 RBIs. His 5th of the year, and an onslaught here at Camden Yards. A 12-0 Orioles lead.
That is impressive right there.
Don't try and define it. Just watch it.
I mean, Ryan Flaherty, the home runs by everybody. The crowd really getting into it. But look at this opposite field power here. I mean, this is what Jim Presley's been trying to get Flaherty to do all season long. Use left field. And big, strong kid gets extended, driving it out to left field.
Lowe will take the pitch. Another 500 for Maryland Lottery contestant tonight, John Lanahan Jr. David Lowe, a double. He's walked. Sacrifice. Up in the air, shallow right, second base. Wong back and will put it away. That is the first out here in the inning. On Sunday, August 31st, celebrate the holiday weekend with your family at Oriole Park. Kids 14 and under get the Manny Machado orange replica Orioles jersey. And all kids get to wear their new gear while they're living out their big league dreams, running the bases after the game. Create new Birdland memories with your family. For tickets, Orioles.com, 888-848-BIRD. That's on the 31st of August. Hundley coming up. 2 singles, RBI, and he is grounded out. In the air, right center. Wong, nobody. Bermuda triangle base hit. Hundley's got a 3-hit ball game.
Well, good for Nick. I mean, he whistled a couple balls for his first 2 base hits. Able to pick up a knock here. Take a look at the Nissan pitch track. Turning it over. That's a split finger on the outside corner, and he puts it in a perfect spot, finding some grass in between all 3 defenders.
His first 3-hit game of the season. 14 hits for the Orioles in the ball game. Everybody has had a hit in the lineup, at least one. Nick Markakis got his in the first inning, a single. He's hit into a double play, and he has grounded out. The Orioles are one shy of the 7 home run day that they had against Toronto in 2012. September of 2012, the Orioles hit 7 home runs that day. Freeman the pitch. Bloop third base. Cruz charging, and there'll be no play.
There have been some impressive home run swings. I think that was a big sign right there by Flaherty, though. I mean, his swing is really starting to become more consistent. We've seen here recently in his last few starts, hitting more balls to left field, picking up more hits, but that is unbelievable power right there. I mean, that should just prove to him he doesn't have to really try too hard. Stay on the baseball.
Breaking ball, had a reach, popped it up center field. Borges is there, will put it away. Back to first base goes Hundley. 2 down here in the 6th inning. Freeman came into the ball game not having surrendered a home run this season in the just 23 innings that he had worked. He's given up 2 here in the 6th inning. Greenwood just recalled today, giving up a couple of home runs in the ball game, and then the starter Masterson, he was charged with 2 home runs. He had given up none with the Cardinals and 6 on the year overall. Pitch will be taken for a ball. Manny Machado, his home run came in the 2nd inning, his 12th of the year. Good for 3 RBIs. Also hit by a pitch, grounded out, and struck out. 2 down, 1-0 count, runner on at first base. That's going to go into right field, a base hit. Tavares will get it in a hurry, holding Hundley at second. And at this point, Freeman probably is going to have to take one for the club.
Somebody's going to have to.
12-0. Matheny's not going to go into that bullpen, not even get anybody up, and just hope.
It's not like he's making terrible pitches. I mean, the Orioles hitters are just doing a really good job right there. Machado is taking what's given. Fastball away, stays on it, shoots it to the right side to pick up the base hit.
So the Orioles now have 15 hits in the ball game. The Cardinals had one game this year against the Cubs where they gave up 20 hits to the Chicago Cubs. That's their high this year in hits surrendered. Adam Jones will head down to first base. Bases are loaded.
I don't know if you want to start doing that either. And Machado already hit earlier in the ball game directly on the backside. Down and in right off Adam Jones's knee.
Derek Lilliquist, pitching coach, back out. But Showalter not real happy about that.
No, heck no. You know, just make better pitches. And what's that going to do? It's going to get somebody hurt. That's all that's going to do.
He's talking to Jeff Nelson, home plate umpire, saying, I'm getting Jonesy out of there. So Scope will come on to pinch run. Jonathan Scope on. Jones coming out of there with a smile on his face.
Good game.
Yep. Jones with a single. Walk and a run scored. Home run is 22nd. Hit by a pitch. Orioles have loaded the bases for the 3rd time in the ball game. They have batted around here in the 6th inning. Cruz is the 9th hitter up. Single, walk, struck out, and grounded out. Orioles started this kind of game back in the 1st inning when they loaded the bases with nobody out. Masterson was able to get out of that, but after that, Cardinal pitchers have not been able to get out of any jam. Pitch will be taken for a strike. 2 down, bases loaded. A 3-run 6th inning. Lots of crooked numbers on the board for the Orioles. 0-1 pitch. Cruz will swing through it. And the count goes to 0-2. Seth Maness in the bullpen. So the Orioles, like the Cardinals, probably going to rest some starters here towards the end of this ball game. We're in the 6th inning. Cruz will take that one down low. Krasinski blocks it, holds the runners.
That is an opportunity, certainly, to rest some players. Of course, you want to keep players like Flaherty in there, keep his back going. Hundley, seems like Caleb Joseph getting the bulk of the catching. Jonathan Scope over at first base.
They check. Nope.
You know, something that's kind of been overlooked here by the Orioles, and we'll take a look at this check swing by Nelson Cruz. Did he hold? Oh yeah, he did. Good strength there, but you know, the Orioles second baseman Scope and Flaherty, they played really good defense. I mean, a big part of the reason why turning so many double plays, but now they've got 14 home runs.
We can say that, Mike, but you can say that with the catchers, with Matt Wieters out. You can say that at second base, as you say, and you can say it in left field.
Sure.
Because you've moved Cruz and Pierce and Lowe and Young, and they've all played left field. So you've had those positions surrounded by the stable guys who play every day.
Yeah.
2-2 delivery on the way, and a swing and a miss. So Cruz is retired, but the Orioles have another big inning as they deliver 3 more. Davis getting his 20th home run, Flaherty getting his 5th, and the Orioles now lead the Cardinals 12-0. On Monday at the official Orioles team store in the York Galleria, infielder Jonathan Scope will be on hand 11 until noon, meeting fans, signing autographs. Don't miss your chance to meet him and discover the latest official Orioles team gear. That's Monday 11 a.m. till noon at the official Orioles team store at the York Galleria. Jonathan Scope, you'll like him. And he's in the ball game playing at second base right now. Delman Young has come on to play in left field. Jones out of the ball game, so Lowe goes from left to center. Pierce has come on for Markakis. Steve will play in right field, and Flaherty goes from second to short. So the outfield is Young, Lowe, and Pierce. Machado, Flaherty, Scope, and Davis are on the infield, and Hundley working, and Chris Tillman on the mound, as he's been since the beginning. Tillman with no walks and 7 strikeouts. A dominating performance, obviously helped by the 12-0 score. However, he's given up only 3 hits. We go to the 7th inning, and the ball down the line on a shattered bat will be foul.
Yeah, he really in command of his game right now. Not many mistakes. And will locate the fastball wherever he wants, driving it down to the bottom of the zone, elevating when he needs to. Getting that breaking ball over early for strikes. He's finishing off hitters for strikes. The changeup has come up big in the middle part of the game. A full arsenal right now.
Breaking ball, that's in there for a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tillman, just 90 pitches thrown here in the 7th. Ellis getting his first at bat. Mark Ellis came on as a defensive replacement. He'll foul that one away, so both teams getting their starters out. 33,743 the announced attendance. 33,743, and I guarantee you there are many more than that in the ballpark. I got a feeling that's tickets sold. That's fouled off at the plate, because I mean it is jammed here tonight. The standing room only areas have been packed all the way around. The laser show after the game will be coming up. Oh, it's 43. That's more like it. All right, 43,743. Now you're talking business. 1-2 delivery on the way. Gee, I feel better about my ability to judge the crowd now.
Yeah.
I was going to say thousands more, but I didn't dare to because it just sounded so outlandish. But there were thousands more. 43 and they're every corner. And the ceremonies after the game, celebrating the 60th anniversary with the Orioles Hall of Famers, former players, the great fireworks and laser show. As we said, that laser light show is going to be up on the warehouse. It'll be beamed off the warehouse after the game. Scotty McGregor. 2-2 delivery on the way, and that's to right field, and it stays up, and Pierce is there. Ellis retired. Join us tomorrow. Game 2 of this set. Ubaldo Jimenez returns to the rotation, taking the mound against John Lackey. Our coverage on Masson, 3:30 O's Extra, presented by Geico. The game at 4. All the access you need right here on Masson.
And here's a look at tomorrow's starters. Of course, John Lackey, he'll be making his second start for St. Louis, really trying to strengthen that rotation coming over from Boston. Real nice record, 12 wins on the season. Ubaldo, this will be his first start since July 5th. And he has faced the Cardinals before. And not bad numbers either. 3.33 earned run average in his career against the Cardinals.
We're playing here in the 7th inning. The Orioles 12-15-0. The Cardinals 0-3-0. Orioles have left 10. The Cardinals have left 3. Both Toronto and the Yankees, trailing the Orioles by 5, are winning their ball games tonight. Pitch will be there for a strike. The Orioles had a tough time starting the season in games that were being played here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. They have turned that around. 0-2 pitch, going to be down low. They started the season 19-21 here at Oriole Park. They have since gone 11-4, and a win in this game would make it 12-4, which takes it back to the end of June. Something that they needed to do. They needed to get more wins at home, and they have. Foul back, still 1-2.
Yeah, they really have played well since the end of June here at Camden Yards. I mean, they're getting the great pitching. That's about the time it really started kicking in. They were looking for more, offensive support at home. The number is down a bit, quite a bit, on the damage they're doing on the road. But I'll tell you what, after this offensive performance, those numbers are all going to come up quite a bit.
Pitch is going to be taken outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Quality at bat right here by Tony Cruz, his first at bat of the ball game, taking the place of Peralta in the lineup, who had an 0 for 2. Cruz fighting off some good pitches, and he will take that one that's going to be outside. So the count goes full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Tony Cruz with Tavares waiting on deck. Dave Wallace, Oriole pitching coach. Just a matter now of how long do you want Tillman to go.
I mean, he looks really good. See the Nissan pitch track getting ahead there on the plate in the last 3 pitches, trying to expand a little bit, give chase, but Cruz doing a nice job showing some patience on some tough pitches down and away.
3-2 delivery to him, and he draws the first walk. Surrendered by Tillman in the game, comes with 1 away here in the 7th inning. Brian Mattis in the bullpen for the Orioles. First warm-up action that they've had tonight. That'll bring Tavares to the plate. Tavares has gone the distance, couple of strikeouts. Oriole batters have gone through 5 plate appearances in this game. The Cardinals are going through for the 3rd time. Oscar Tavares 1 away. Laces it down the line and foul.
I see that There have been a lot of late swings on the fastball, and it's just that late life. When it gets to the zone, it takes off, and that's what that, driving the ball, Chris Tillman being so tall, when we talk about that downhill angle, it gets on you. There's a nice four-seam carry through the zone. A lot of late swings.
In the dirt, that'll be a wild pitch over into the dugout, and down to second base goes Cruz. Where Tillman, his 7th wild pitch of the year, will put a runner in scoring position. First time since the 2nd inning.
Yeah, he's been in pretty good command here. Holds on to this one a little bit too long, spiking it down and in, and kicks away from Hundley.
Look at this, 5 for 13 compared to 0 for 3. 1-1 delivery on the way. Tank may be getting close to empty for Tillman here in the inning after that first out. Ball started to fly around a little bit. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Tavares .320 minor league average through 5 seasons. Cardinals #1 prospect according to Baseball America for 2 consecutive years. Won all kinds of minor league awards, about everything he can win. He'll let it pop up down the third base side. Hundley makes a long run, but it's Machado's, and he's got it. 2 down. Tillman trying to work his way through the 7th inning. A.J. Pierzynski coming up. He has grounded out, struck out. Pierzynski, obviously a lot of games against the Orioles, all the American League teams he played for. .315 career average, and in this ballpark a .341 hitter here at Camden Yards with 5 lifetime home runs here for Pierzynski. Pierzynski, of course, had been released Hall of Fame time. He wasn't playing for anybody, so he took the kids to the Hall of Fame and saw him there and was talking with him one day. Said, I think I'm going to play again. Next day the Cardinals signed him. So he got to spend 1 day at the Hall of Fame. 0-1 count, 2 down.
Well, he can still swing it, and obviously the veteran player has been through the postseason and a lot of experience.
Tillman gets ahead of him, 0-2.
They're going to need that kind of extra experience here down the stretch as they're in pursuit of the division and the wild card.
Runner off second base, 2 down. Here's the 0-2 delivery in the air to right field. He hit it hard way back near the scoreboard, and goodbye home run. So Pierzynski gets rid of the goose egg for the Cardinals as he delivers the long ball. Good for 2 RBIs. And for Pierzynski, it's going to be his first as a Cardinal and his 5th of the year.
And Buck going to go out and get Tillman after that one. And a great game by Chris Tillman.
And the fans, 43,000 plus who've been packed in here, know the offense was there, but so was this guy's start. They're up for Chris Tillman.
by Chris Tillman, and he was in command this whole ball game. Command of all of his pitches, but especially that fastball here blowing the Cardinals hitters away. The curveball showed up as well. Dot and a cheese right into the top of the zone, spotting it inside. Once again there, getting Wong. I mean, quite a performance by Tillman. Take a look at the pitch arsenal comparison tonight. That fastball, it was so good he used it 70% of the time. On the season, just 53%. Breaking ball came up big 22% of the time in the change. A nice line by Chris Tillman. That was the Jeep inside the numbers. And here's a Jiffy Lube pitching change. Change is good, especially when it's your oil getting changed at Jiffy Lube. Give your vehicle relief with regular oil changes at Jiffy Lube and help stretch the life of your engine. Well, Brian Mattis now in the game. Fastball 54%, breaking ball 34%, and the change 12% of the time. Brian Mattis has been pitching very well. That earned run average continuing to come down 4.08. 40 strikeouts on the season. Opponents hitting 272, but the lefties way down to 228.
Right-hander will pinch hit, and this is Shane Robinson, who is in for John Jay. Jay had an 0 for 2 in the ball game. Robinson's had only 46 at bats. Why that number is way down there. And a swing and a pitch top foul at the plate. He's picked up 6 runs, 46 at bats. Chris Tillman probably like to have gone a little longer in the ball game, even though giving up just the 2 runs and 4 hits. But really no need for him to do that here. He's going to get his 9th win of the year, go 9-5.
I mean, it was weird. He was really pretty efficient through the whole ball game. You know, big innings.
0-2 pitch will miss outside. Retired the side in order in the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th innings. And they did not get a base runner into scoring position from the 2nd inning through the 7th. And that's going to be foul back. Ball and 2 strikes on Robinson. Orioles in a dominating affair in this game where you just never know when you come to the ballpark what you're going to see.
Well, you have seen consistency from Chris Tillman. I mean, he has been pitching very well. And I think all about that fastball command. That's been the key for him. Talked about early in the season, left a lot of balls up in the zone. Now it is a very effective pitch for him. That fastball riding to the top, but you got to prove that you can drive it down at the bottom. Too many mistakes up there if you consistently go to that upper third, and he only went to the top of the zone when he wanted to in this ball game.
Shane Robinson will foul it away. Tillman will stay and watch here as the Orioles try and put this ball game away and wrap up the victory, which they're probably going to need to preserve the 5-game lead that they have over the Yankees and Toronto. 2-2 delivery. That'll go to second base. Chopped down on that one. Jonathan Scope's got a good speed. Robinson is retired. Couple of runs in. Krasinski home run. 7th inning stretch time. Anniversary of the Orioles, lots of signs and lots of fans. Hi everybody, I'm Gary Thorne here with Mike Bordick, and for the Orioles fans tonight, a chance after the game not only to celebrate the ball game but to celebrate all of the Oriole Hall of Fame members and former players like yourself who've come back.
Yeah, the great tradition that the Orioles have held for 60 years, and a lot of the great Orioles here tonight, and they're seeing a great performance by the Orioles players. Buck was a little worried about that. He wanted to show them what they were capable of, and my gosh, they certainly are. This is going to be a great night. I mean, a great game here, and then of course recognizing all the great Orioles from the years past.
And Buck said one of the things that most intrigues him when he talks to the former players who are here is how closely they follow the current Orioles, that they're up to date on players and standings and rankings and things, that a lot of the guys still are real fans of the Orioles of today.
Yeah, well, they are now. I mean, disappeared for a while. They were waiting for this team to come back, and really Buck Showalter, Dan Duquette, they have resurrected this organization, and they've been playing some great ball over the past few years, winning baseball, and it's nice to see. I mean, you heard Frank Robinson talk about that. Getting Oriole baseball back on the map, playing the Oriole way that so many fans here in this region have been accustomed to, and the great players that really established that: Eddie Murray, Brooks Robinson, I mean, Frank Robinson, Cal Ripken. The list goes on and on.
And the pitch will be taken inside as the Cardinals will move to Randy Choate.
Now Randy Choate, the veteran lefty, used that fastball at 67% of the time, and the breaking ball hits a slider. And 42 games, 5.26 earned run average. See that three-quarter sidearm delivery that he possesses, and the lefty's struggling against it. .098 batting average. Righties up quite a bit, 385.
That ball in the air to left field near the warning track, and that'll be hauled in. It's a pretty good drive right there by Chris Davis, who had his 20th home run in the previous at bat. One away here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Now for the Oriole fans, what a night, as the Orioles come back home off the road trip where the games tended to be so close, and to have this ball game with the Orioles on top by a score of 12-2. Here is Steve Pearce. Pearce getting his first at bat in the ball game with all the substitutions that have been made by the Orioles. He is hitting in Hardy's spot. J.J. Hardy, a 2-homer ball game, numbers 5 and 6. He scored 3 times, also reaching in a walk coming across. You can go up and down the lineup and find the big nights for the Orioles in about every slot.
My goodness, everybody contributing in this lineup, top to bottom. Steve Pearce, he'd like to get his bat going. Kind of ran into a little bit of a funk here recently.
Outside corner and a strike called. He leaned out to take a look, didn't go. Choate gets him, 2 down. 2 away, 7th inning.
With the backdoor slider there, getting a call on Pearce.
Ryan Flaherty, he's picked up 2 RBIs, the home run, his 5th of the year, last time up. Also has singled and scored in the ball game. Orioles are going to improve their all-time record against the Cardinals to 2-5 with a victory in this ball game. Nick Markakis taking a breather with the skipper. 0-1 delivery on the way, swing and a miss on a wave on the left-hander's delivery. 0-2.
Well, that's how tough he was. The numbers on the lefties, really got to keep that front side in, and sweeps that slider across. That sidearm delivery doesn't help.
And another one close, didn't go after it though. Mark Carlson, the third base umpire, on the call. One ball, 2 strike count on Ryan Flaherty. And came back inside and missed with it. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And the hardest thing to do against side armors, if you're going left on left or even right on right, is to pick up that slider. And take a look at the Nissan pitch track. Choate getting ahead and then trying to run those last two sliders off the plate.
Got that one there. So Choate will pick up the strikeout, retires the side in order. First time the Orioles have been set down in a clean inning. We've completed 7, 12-2. Is presented by authority of the Baltimore Orioles and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Baltimore Orioles. And a 12-2 lead for the Orioles as we go to the 8th inning. Tonight, with the 6 home runs the Orioles have put up, they have tied other teams for the most home runs in a single game this year at 6. The Giants, Pirates, White Sox, and now the Orioles have had 6 homers in a ball game this season. Brian Mattis will stay on to work. He got the final out in the 7th inning. Tillman, 2 runs, 4 hits, 6 2/3. Masterson, the starter for the Cardinals, 5 runs, 7 hits, 2+ innings. He is the pitcher of record. Greenwood went 3 innings, 4 runs, 4 hits. Freeman an inning, 3 runs, 4 hits. And then Choate still in the ball game for the Cardinals. And the pitch will miss outside for a ball. Peter Borges batting in the number 9 spot. He's had a single and he is grounded out. Mattis's delivery to him will tail away.
A lot of players in the ball game right now for the Cardinals. When you look at these at bats as, just gaining experience and trying to take advantage of these opportunities. And they have their frontline players, but prove you can do some things. Put together some quality at bats. Might afford you some more playing time. At least show manager Mike Matheny, there's bench coach Mike Aldretti, that you're able to handle yourself and put together quality at bats, and they trust you a little bit more.
He'll take the pitch on the inside corner. Ubaldo Jimenez returns off the DL tomorrow against John Lackey for game 2. Orioles will make the corresponding change either tonight or tomorrow. Remember, it's a 4 o'clock game. Ball put up in the air first and out of play. 3 ball, 2 strike count.
Tomorrow's starter, John Lackey. He's no stranger to the Orioles. A lot of starts in his career.
A lot of visits here. 1-0 with the Cardinals, 12-7 on the year. Here's the 3-2 delivery and punched foul. Borges just protecting the at bat on that one. The count will stay at 3-2.
Brian Mattis really trying to work that down and away spot. Done a nice job here. And his changeup comes up big to the right-handers. Take a look at the Nissan pitch track. That last pitch perfectly placed there. Gorgeous. Nice job fouling it off.
Full count delivery on the way, and he got him. Gorgeous. Knew it, but it was too late. So Brian Mattis gets the strikeout to start the 8th inning.
Shows him away and then busts him in with a good fastball, 91 miles an hour. That release point right over the top. Four-seamer. At your spot, you execute, and good things will happen. Good job there from Mattis.
Daniel Descalso hitting in the leadoff spot. Struck out in the 6th inning in his first at bat in the ball game. Orioles scoring the 12 runs, but have also stranded 10. Cardinals 2 runs. They've left 3 on base. 1-0 delivery. Descalso will go after it and fouls it back. The Orioles came into the ball game with the 3rd best record in the majors, 65-49, and they also have the largest lead, division lead, at 5 games. As great division races look like they're going to last for the remainder of the season. The Cardinals, of course, chasing Milwaukee, just a game out. The Nationals lead Atlanta by 4.5. Atlanta's lost 8 in a row. And the Angels and the Dodgers, rather, lead the Giants by 3.5. Detroit's got a 2.5 on Kansas City, and Oakland's got a 3-game lead on the Angels. 1 ball, 2-strike pitch on the way, and thought he had him. Brian Mattis was ready for the toss around, but didn't get it.
Yep, walking around the infield. A good fastball just off the plate.
Orioles might not want to give up these uniforms for tomorrow's game.
No.
2-2 delivery on the way, fouled off. The guys were joking around at the batting cage today. The guys really like the uniforms. And what Showalter was saying, we're going to have to take a real close count when this game's over. There's a real good chance players would like to have the uniforms. However, they're going to be signed, authenticated, put up for auction after the game tonight for Orioles charities. You'll be able to bid on them online. That ball's put up in the air to shallow center field. Flaherty, who's playing shortstop, goes back to get it. 2 down here in the 8th. Follow every Orioles game with MLB.com at bat, your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get the live look-ins, instant replays, scores, stats, highlights, MLB TV game of the day, and more. Download the app or visit Orioles.com today. Brad Brock in the bullpen.
Boy, has he been good. Oh, he really can't go to everybody out there. Has been so good in the Orioles bullpen.
That's what makes the move tomorrow, if indeed it is somebody out of the bullpen, the roster move to get Jimenez back, so difficult. And a swing and a miss. Lefty against lefty in this one. Wong. Manis has been warming up, so he'll be coming in. Colton Wong has taken an 0 for 3, a strikeout, fly out, ground out. And we'll loop that one back. And a 2-strike count from Brian Mattis. Cardinals beginning a road trip with this ball game today. 6 on the road, 3 here, as the Cardinals interleague play continues. That one's going to be fouled off, third base side. Then they will take on the Marlins for 3 before going back to St. Louis. Fans right now just kind of waiting for the post-game ceremonies. Fireworks, laser show, and the introduction of the Orioles Hall of Famers. 0-2 delivery, went upstairs to get it, popped it up, third base. Handled by Manny Machado, a 1-2-3 inning for Brian Mattis, who retired all 4 that he faced. Orioles up 12-2.
strange when you start listening to all the players talk. Like B.J. Surhoff, arguably he could be a Brewer, but he's decided he wants to be an Oriole. Frank Robinson just mentioned it, 10 years with the Reds, 6 years with the Orioles. He's widely regarded as an Oriole. Ken Singleton, a lot of these players had long careers with other teams, but there's something special about playing baseball here, the community here, the fans, the teammates that sort of makes ex-players gravitate toward this team as the place they call home.
Brady Anderson at the luncheon today talking about a number of the Oriole Hall of Famers on hand who are here and will be part of the ceremonies coming up after the ball game. Orioles with the 12-2 lead and the bullpen again.
Well, Seth Maness coming in. He likes his fastball 73% of the time. Gets a pretty good sinker coming out of there with the two-seamer. The breaking ball 9%. It's a little slider. And that changeup 18% of the time. There's a nice sell with that. Pretty good command of that change as well. 3.20 earned run average, 37 Ks, and 282 overall off Maness.
First ball hitting. This is going to be a tough play, and there'll be none. At a nasty little hop and with low speed, I don't think even if it's fielded, you're going to get him. They're going to call an error on the shortstop Descalso. Low reaches.
Yeah, the speed of David Lowe really sets up this play. The high chopper. You try to take it away from him. If you back up on the ball, he's going to beat it out anyway. Just somehow try to get yourself in a good position. Right at the end, he tried to pull up and backhand that ball. Probably should have just trusted that he could have reached out and possibly got that short hop out in front.
So the Orioles, first error of the ball game, gets a man on here in the 8th inning. Hundley coming up. He's had a 3-hit ball game. 3 singles, RBI, and a run scored for Hundley. Runner on at first and 1 out. Bottom of the 8th inning. The Orioles' 60th anniversary celebration going on. All those players who, most of them in the great years, 66 through 83. The Orioles had 6 American League pennants. There were 3 World Championships in those seasons. As they beat the Reds in 1970, 4 games to 1. Brooksy, the MVP of that one, hit .429 and 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, and numerous times made defensive plays that are still watched today.
Yeah, that was. I don't know that a lot of people remember he hit .429. Yeah. They remember the defensive plays he made in that series.
Hit hard to third. Great short hop play. Cruz 1, relay from second by Wong, and a double play. So Hundley hits into the double play around the horn.
Well, Nick Hundley had some great at-bats in this ball game. Really stung the ball 3 times. Tough luck there heading into the double play, but good to see him have some quality at-bats in this game.
So Delman Young will get his first at-bat in the ball game. Orioles in that 70 World Series got victories by Cuellar, McNally, Palmer, Tommy Phoebus. Put away the World Championship. Young takes the pitch away. He's batting in the spot Markakis had. Nick had a single, a walk, a run scored. Towering fly ball to left field, near the wall, but in the yard, and put away. That much, just that much, and the Orioles could add their 7th home run. All on Masson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by Chapin Davis, providing investments that can produce income from your retirement plan. Call to learn more, 800-222-3246 or at chapindavis.com. Gary Thorne and Mike Bordick. The big house full here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, and what an explosion they've seen of the Oriole offense.
Yeah, they've seen it all. Great starting pitching. We've seen some of the bullpen arms, and here's been a good one here lately. Brad Brock using that fastball at 69% of the time. That cross-body delivery makes it very effective. Good sweeping slider and a good changeup 13% of the time. See his numbers on the year. 2.98 earned run average, 36 punch-outs, 16 walks in 42 1/3 innings of work. Opponents hitting just 197. Lefties at 213, righties at just 186, and he's been on a nice little roll last 14 games. 1.13 earned run average with 20 strikeouts, so he has been dominant.
So Brock on to try and finish it up. First ball hitting. Matt Holliday, shallow right field. Pierce is there, and he would put it away. Holliday retired. Top of the 9th inning. A couple more outs. The Orioles get the win. They will go 6-2 for the month of August. Have their 66th win of the season. Tillman will be the winner. He's 9-5. Will be. Masterson the loser. He'll be 5-7. Laser show will be coming up on the warehouse wall after the ball game. Stay tuned. Here is Mark Ellis, and the pitch is a strike taken. Ellis won at bat. He is flied out. Quite a celebration by the current Orioles on behalf of the former Orioles and the 60th anniversary night. They have a night like this offensively.
And there are some incredible offensive performers in this the Orioles history. We talked about Frank Robinson, two-time MVP in American League, National League, and talked about Brooks Robinson, Boog Powell, American League MVP. And my goodness, Ken Singleton, Cal, Eddie, incredible offensive performers.
1-2 the count. Jonathan Scope. 2 down. Ellis retired. The Orioles got on top in this game with a 4-run second inning and just have not looked back. 2-run homer, Pierzynski in the 7th. The only runs for the Cardinals. Off the starter. Hardy a 2-homer ball game. And but Showalter got to rest some of his starters. Davis his 20th home run. Flaherty picking up his 5th home run. Manny Machado a homer. Pierce coming. Ball game is over. Steve Pierce makes the diving catch on Cruz. Now that's the way to wrap up a game. All this offense and a great defensive play to end it.
Yeah, beautiful play by Steve Pierce. So wherever you put him, comes up big. And here, great concentration to end the ball game. Tough play for an outfielder diving straight on. Makes it look pretty easy there.
So for the Orioles, they open up this 3-game set against the Cardinals with a very impressive 12-2 win out hitting the Cardinals 15-4 in this ball game. That sets the stage for the post-game celebration.